Warning, the following video is extremely disturbing. You've been warned.
Oh man, Sean, do you know where the kids' sick day records are? Oh, they were on the fridge. Can you have a look for me when you've done that? Oh, please, thank you. Unless Gio's got any sick day rules available. She don't do them. Has anyone got their diabetes sick day rules available? Okay. So, again, I'm here today because somebody has come back on live today saying they got the air ambulance out yesterday. They were given CPR, they were put in the A&E department, and they're back on live now. Again, I'm not privy to her medical records, I can't tell you that, but I can tell you that this is the flight log. Bear with. I've done it again now, haven't I? This is the flight log for the airspace where she lives. You can all do your own research. You don't have to prove what I say. You can do your own research. You can go and look at airspace previous records and they will tell you who flew exactly that girl Rose. I don't even have to tell you that if somebody has CPR, they wouldn't be live the next day, less than 24 hours later. So again, I am just debunking, giving you facts, and you make your own decision. My truth is my truth, your truth is your truth. Before I let anyone in the box, I just want to talk to you about something else. Bear with me, I have seen you in the box. Lizzie, my lovely, I will speak to you in a minute. I just want to give you some other bits of information. So, I only got involved because of my friend who was taken in by her. I've never been a follower, I've never been a mod, I've got no grievance against her. I neither like or dislike her. So, you know, I can't really say it. Let me put some eyelashes on because I really absolutely hate not having eyelashes on. Cut this bit out, the observer. So, look, wicked, someone said it's their rules. So, it's not in my interest to tell you what you should believe or what you shouldn't believe. But, obviously, I've become aware of this creator and I think she's very dangerous for a safeguarding. It's Hem's clarification, there's confusion. I want to jump in quick. Okay, let's give Lizzie Hem's... Hello.
Hello. Sorry, I just want to quickly clarify. So they can send HEMS out and not actually be an air ambulance. So most air ambulance companies, actually all of them that I've ever worked with, have cars. They still work for that air ambulance because there's times where it's not safe for them to put a helicopter up. So theoretically, unless she's like they could have sent a car, which will have still provided HEMS level of care. That's all I wanted to clarify.
And 100% that, but she said she went in a helicopter.
I know. I just look. There's people saying that you could other things, and that I'm not saying that she didn't. I'm just saying that it does happen that people can send cars because there was people suggesting that that's all it was.
Especially if they're in a city location and the helicopters can't land, then obviously the first responder cars they're going to get there quicker.
Yeah, there are times and places where it's more suitable to send.
Absolutely, thank you. And obviously they do have a doctor on board those vehicles most of the time, and they can do. Sorry.
So that's not always. Some have. So they will definitely have something called a critical care paramedic, but they can do something called RSI, which if she's had a seizure and is continuingly to have seizures, they will put her into an rapid sequence induction, which basically means they're going to give her some meds, basically not put her to sleep, put a tube in, and take her to hospital to protect her airway and protect her brain, basically.
And would someone be discharged less than 24 hours later after an episode like that?
absolutely no bloody way. You'd be lucky if you're off the ventilator within 24 hours.
That's all I want to do. I'm not slating her. I'm not bad mouthing her. I'm just giving facts so that everyone can make their own decision. I'm not trying to say you should believe her or you shouldn't believe her. But what I don't want out is dangerous information that is not factually true.
Oh, I'm 24. So I am aware. I am 24 years old. Just because someone just said she sounds young. I am 24 years old. I've been to uni. I have a whole degree and everything.
It's not, yeah.
I'm not a child anymore.
It's like summer holidays, but take it as a compliment, because then when you're very old, then you won't sound like very old apparently.
Yeah. But no. It was just that someone was like, no, they don't send cards out. I was like, no, they can.
No, absolutely. And you're right, there is 3 agencies that cover that area. But as you can see from the airspace record, they didn't actually fly yesterday.
They can send flight paths and things. Obviously, the cards themselves, they won't give. You can't find out the information about where it is. So yeah.
Yeah, but exactly. But where she's saying
helimed doesn't necessarily mean. If someone says we're sending HEMS, doesn't necessarily mean they're actually sending a helicopter. It could mean they're sending a rapid response car with a HEMS team on it. So, and that either way is still categorized. Basically, they're not run by the ambulance service. They just support the ambulance service where possible.
Yeah, she actually said she had an ambulance and the air ambulance helicopter. So what we're doing is debunking it by saying, here's the flight records.
And I would also like to put out there is if this individual does have something like status epilepticus and things like that, HEMS turning up is not out of the question. It is something that, if possible, people might request. But that would depend on a whole host of things. So
and again, would she likely be live in under 24 hours?
No, she wouldn't even be. She'd be in ITU for like ages. Well, maybe not ages. For most people having CPR, you're going to be in ITU for, I don't know, 4 weeks at her age, maybe 4 weeks in hospital at least, if not longer. But I know I had a colleague of mine who had a cardiac arrest at the age of 26, and they spent 5.5 weeks in hospital. And a week of it was in an induced coma. Obviously, that is their situation, and everyone's situation and medical information is completely different. But that's giving someone who's a 26-year-old, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you observer, of course you can come in, my love. Of course you can come in, absolutely. So thank you, Lizzie. You can stay there. You're more than welcome, because someone might have any questions. Hello, Tammy. Is this the observer again, my lovely observer? Diana, I'm not going to let people in a minute.
I'm disappearing because I've got.
All right, because they might think you're 12. Yeah.
Let me work out how to get myself back off this.
Do you want me to kick you out? Hi, Bryce. Oh, they kicked her out. Hi, Bryce, Leanne. Right, okay. So, since I started doing this, I've had lots of people messaging me. I've had professional people message me. I've had followers message me. I've had ex-mods message me. And obviously, sifting through all that information, I'm doing a big spreadsheet as evidence. I'm doing a big spreadsheet. Tammy, the guinea pig, obviously one died, but the others have been to the vets. Zerv, you're going to have to cut this out. I've been to the vets and they're okay. The 14 are quite healthy at the moment. So I've had loads of messages, and I've had some really concerning ones where, without giving too much information, because I'm not going to give too much information away, it seems that they will bait, this creator and her father will bait people to have an argument. When people then argue back, she will play the victim, and police have been involved to the point of one person being arrested. I'm due to speak to that person's father today, because that person is a minor. So all I'm going to say to you is, any lives that you do about this creator, please remain truthful, please remain calm, please remain respectful, because any excuse this person can use to turn it again, as she is the victim, she will do it. And that's really sad. Some of the stories I've heard, and people contacting me saying they're actually too scared to speak. She has been doing it for 5 years. Thank you everyone for the gifts, I really appreciate it. She has been doing it for over 5 years. She has been on Facebook platform, she has been on Instagram platform, and she has obviously come across to TikTok. She has been doing this for 5 years. The amount of money that she seems to have got off of people over those 5 years is an absolute hideous amount, I'm not gonna lie. I do know between the 4 people that I have spoken to, it's in excess now of 7,000. That's just 4 people. We have been contacted between, Gio put in the comments, I think I would say between 40 and 60 people. Anybody that has given this girl money, it seems to be a MO that she private messages people. It seems to be a MO that she will say things like, I need to buy some Diorolite, but I've got minus £4 in my bank account. I need to pay my rent or I'm going to be homeless. I need to buy some flushes and syringes, but I've got no money until I get my PIP on Tuesday. She will ask to borrow money, and then when people have asked to, so her glasses broke, we need new glasses, or for whatever reason, someone's loaned her money, and then when they've asked her for the money back, she has sent them laughing emojis. And then they have contacted her father, who has then turned it on them to say, why are you giving a vulnerable girl money? It's your own problem. What's your motives? So please, Tammy, it's a creator called Kiki. So please, if you are going to do, DWP is a difficult one. I haven't contacted the DWP. That's not one of the agencies, because I think her mental health conditions alone, she would qualify for personal independence payment. And that's not related on working or not working. So, you know, there's a lot of people with mental health problems that are unable to work and do have, I can't remember what it's called, incapacity to work or something like that. So she would get that. So I'm not going to bother with the DWP. I'm not witch hunting her. I just want her off social media to stop. Now I doubt she's declaring gifts now. I want her to stop targeting vulnerable people and getting money off them. That's all I want to do. It's not a witch hunt. I want her to get help and to safeguard those people that are too scared to talk, which I think is very frightening that we have this environment on TikTok, I'm not going to lie. But yeah, it's not a witch hunt. I neither like her or dislike her. I don't even know her, but I do know what she's doing is very underhand. Barrister Jimmy, we are talking about Chronic Kiki. Oh, these comments are going so fast. Yeah, that's it, limited capability to work. Or seek employment, isn't it? She would still get that. She would still get that. So I'm not, the DWP is not a thing. But I'm just telling you, please, 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 when you speak about her, especially the people, I know, but Carly, the problem is, Carly is one of them. Carly, are you okay? The Observer is screen recording, just to let you know. But are you okay telling your story? Because you're an example of what I'm trying to say to people today. They are very good at baiting people out to get an angry response, and then they will claim the victim first, go into the police saying that you are harassing and stalking them. So we have to be really careful not to get in any kind of online bun fight. We are just going to stay respectful, truthful, factual. It's for people to make their own minds up whether they believe her or not. But I'm using the power of social media to put the facts out there so that you can decide what you want to believe. What did Carly say? Exactly, the Observer. We want to prevent new people coming across her, might be totally sucked in by her. It's very plausible. Some of the stuff she's saying is very plausible. It isn't until you look into the detail, and if you are a diabetic and you listen to some of the stuff she's saying, if you are a tubie, and anytime anyone questions her, they get blocked from the live. So a new person is not going to see that person questioning what she's saying. Carly, do you want to Carly, do you want to come in? Request the box if you want to come in, Carly, darling. I don't want to get everyone in the box again, because obviously we did everyone's truth. Emily is doing a live on... Okay, Carly's in hospital, but I can tell her story. Okay, Carly has a very... It's not Carly, it's Kirsty. Kirsty has a very poorly daughter called Carly. And basically, Kirsten implied that Kirsty was Munchausen's by proxy on her daughter. And that she was doing things she shouldn't be doing to her daughter. And doing medical things she shouldn't be doing to her daughter. And exposing her through tests that she shouldn't be doing. And the thing is, because Kirsty retaliated... She's in the box, hang on. No. Because Kirsty retaliated to Kirsten, she couldn't put a malicious communications charge against her. Kirsten became the victim. So this is what I'm saying. She's very, very clever. This young lady is super smart. Super smart. She has swallowed a medical encyclopedia. This girl is not silly. This is what I say. She's not a girl. She's 25 years old. This young lady. She is very, very, very calculated and clever. And she is being enabled by her father. It's all out there what she said about Carly's fight. Please check out Carly's fight. You will see Kirsty and Kirsty and her child on the page. Kirsty, if you want to speak to the Observer another time, offline, if that's all right, the Observer. Oh, can someone send me an image of if that's okay, Kirsty? Yeah. Can someone send me an image off of Carly's fight, please? Or can they send me it? And we can put it up. But yes, Kirsten switched it around and made her the victim. And we have there's a video on Carly's fight that actually shows the interactions between her, but because she retaliated and she got there first to the police, she made her be the victim. So now Kirsty can't do anything about it because it's tit for tat. So please do not retaliate to them. Do not be bad-mouthing them. Just stay very factual. I don't understand what her father's doing. She told us child to stop. We've had people saying that she's told somebody, an insulin-dependent diabetic, to stop taking insulin because she was getting fat. Now, if someone has an eating disorder and there is a thing called diabulimia, I mean, that's life-threatening. Some of the stuff in my inbox is just so horrendous. I never thought it'd get this big. I've just been absolutely shocked to the core. And last night I was just sat there just thinking, what have I done? It sounds like something off a Netflix documentary. I'm not going to lie. Bear with me. We're just going to get a picture. I'm not actually going, this is a child, I'm not actually going to say what other people have said about her. There were some horrible things said about this child. And yeah, she is a beautiful princess. And Kirsten accused her mum of Munchausen by proxy on a public platform. It's on her page. Please look, Carly's fight. How you can say that to a mother, and how you can say that to a mother who's fighting for their child every day. I know if she'd said it about one of my kids, yeah. And I get why people are reacting. I get, because it's an emotive subject, especially when people are going for your sick children, especially when people are going for your health conditions, especially when you find out people are lied about health conditions that you have. I get it's emotive. But this young lady is using it against you. So anybody that comes up against her, anybody that that tries to challenge her, she will claim to be a victim. So again, I don't want people to come in the boxes and badmouth her. I don't want people to come in the boxes. We did the truths. I just want to come on every day, keep hitting it with you that this lady is dangerous, and I am going to put out there every day factual evidence to debunk what she's saying. I'm going to take this little precious baby down now. Does anyone have any questions? What's Cami? Oh my gosh. Honestly, if any of you have been affected and you haven't seen my lives the last 2 days, please message me. I have had a full inbox. I have caught up with it this morning. I am to-ing and fro-ing. So please let me know, because we are working with authorities and our aim is just to safeguard her, get her off social media, and to safeguard everyone that's been affected. Anita, this is about chronic Kiki. So one of the things, let me have a look again. I've got to go again because I need to get sick day rules. Bear with. Okay, I'm back. One of the things she's claiming is about diabetic ketone acidosis. I have 2 type 1 children, and in our Discord we have a number of type 1 diabetics. Type 1 diabetics are more prone to diabetic ketone acidosis. It does happen to type 2s, but it's very rare. It generally is triggered by more ketosis, which is to do with starving ketones. And some dangerous information that she put out the other day was that she had low sugars, but she had ketones of 1.8, and that was very dangerous. Starvation ketones of 1.8 when you're on low sugars is actually quite common, especially if you haven't eaten or done your feed. I have seen in messages that she has told people at ketones at 3, call an ambulance. She's possibly in DKA. So I've got some sick day rules. Again, all I'm doing is debunking what she's saying with facts. These are sick day rules. Bear with. This is what the protocol every diabetic has to follow. As you can see, ketones of 0.6 to 1. And this is if you're a type 1 diabetic. Now, a type 1 diabetic produces no insulin. Whereas if you're a type 2, you're insulin resistant. If you're a type 3C, you don't produce it properly because you've had a part of your pancreas removed. None of which she has. She hasn't explained her type of diabetes. She said it was type 3C, but now it's not. She has said it's unexplained hypoglycemia, and now she said it's an unknown type of diabetes because people have questioned her about her type of diabetes. As you can see here, thank you very much, Jarrett. You've got there ketones 1 to 3, take 15% of your total daily dose of insulin. She doesn't take insulin. She doesn't take insulin. But our protocol is not to take people to hospital. Our protocol is when you get to 3 in ketones, you call your diabetic team and you say, if you're having problems, sometimes you could wake up and your pump has malfunction as a type 1, and you could quite easily have ketones of 3. And you have the sick day rules for a reason. Now, I'm not going to keep them up there because I am conscious. But unfortunately, people will use this stuff. But again, if anyone has any questions, I'm more than happy to share that again. But she is saying at 3, she's going into diabetic ketone acidosis and into a coma. From my own experience, my eldest daughter, who is a terrible diabetic because she has pathological demand avoidance, has been in diabetic ketone acidosis 7 times this year. And, there you go. Is Louise in here? Louise, jump in the box if you're in here, love. Louise is also a type 1 diabetic. She's had 14 episodes of DKA. I'm glad our mods are in here. Mods, Mods, if you're in here, I would just like to show you. I am not telling you what you should believe and what you shouldn't. All I'm doing is facts. I've not got no grievances. I've never been a follower. I don't know her. I don't dislike her, like her, or anything. But I am scared at the information she's putting out and the information that you are actually following as well. So I am a bit concerned about it. So let me just do. Apparently you've been told this morning the air ambulance was out yesterday. Bear with me, Louise, because apparently the mods are in.
Oh, okay.
This is the flight records for her area for yesterday. You can all go and see it yourself. Please look on Flight Radar 24. You can go and look at it for yourself. There are mods in here. I know who the mods are. Natty, yes, you can. Oh, I'm so sorry. It sounds like I'm going for a wee, doesn't it? But I'm not. Which one are you? Louise, which one are you? It sounds like someone's having a wee, but it's not. It's my water feature. Thank you, Scams. I appreciate you. Ella, I am aware that you're one of her mods, and all I'm going to say to you is you are following a care plan that goes against NHS protocols that has been totally made up. I can prove it by, I can give you factual information on diabetes. 3 ketones, call an ambulance. Please do not be calling an ambulance at ketones of 3 when someone is not showing any other signs of diabetic ketone acidosis. Do you know the signs of DKA, Ella? Flight records. Flight records. Here's my water feature. It does sound Joel's biscuit. Joel's biscuit. Where's the biscuit? I can't see Joel's biscuit. You're not here. Lucy Lou, you're another one that feeds back information. Do you know the protocol for diabetic ketone acidosis? I've seen Kirsten's care plan. Do you know the protocol for diabetic ketone acidosis? Ella is her mod. Lucy, you were reported the other day. Somebody saw you in a live reporting information back. I am not telling you whether you should follow this girl or not, or believe what she's saying or not. All I'm coming to you is with the facts. The facts of debunking dangerous information that is going back. Oh, there you are. I know you're not a mod. I know you're not a mod. I do know that you're not a mod. You're not on the list of mods. I do know that. Why is it not letting me bring her in the box? Is she coming in the box? I do apologise for the water feature. I'm not having a wee. Lulu, this is about chronic Kiki. The thing is, this is a social media platform. Everybody sees everything. You're putting things out in the public domain. Yay! There you go, love. She's off now. She's probably watching. I would like to know, any of our mods, do you know what the protocol is for DKA? What do you understand about diabetic ketone acidosis? What do you know about what is that? It's diabetic ketone acidosis. It is when your blood turns acidotic. By your organs breaking down, fat and organs breaking down in your body because there is not enough insulin in your body to process fuel. So it goes elsewhere to look at it. What do you know about it? Yeah, mods are in here, Charlie. I don't know what's going on with the boxes. I'm just having to clear the boxes because there seems to be a problem. Let me accept this person in a minute. See if it works. It's not, the box is not working. I was solely invested because mods were getting hate and I want to protect my friends. We're not after the mods at all. What they choose to believe and what their truth is, Lucy Lou, is their truth. But there are some dangerous narratives coming out from that camp. We have gone to the authorities. We're not after any mods. A lot of the people that have come forward are ex-mods, ex-followers, things like that, people that have given her money. I don't know what's going on with the boxes. Hey, she's in. She's back in. Hello, you back in? The boxes are working. Try again now, Biscuit. I'm not being hateful at all. I know you're not lovely. But all I'm saying is please be very careful. Please, if you're looking out for your friend, please be very careful because I have seen her care plan. And there is medically, factually incorrect information there. That is not a care plan that has been done by a professional. Now, if anything was to happen, God forbid, your friends would be responsible in a coroner's inquest. Anybody that was involved around something that happens, even a safeguarding, anybody that is around that person, if something happens, you are implicated. Your friend would be implicated. It's a mod job on TikTok. She should be muting comments. She is not a carer. She is not a medical professional. And even if she was a medical professional, then she'd be putting her job on the line. So, seriously, yeah. Okay, that's fine, Lucy. I understand. But if one of my friends was her mods, I would be doing what we did and due diligence. I haven't just come on the internet just to tear someone down. I'm not tearing her down. All I'm trying to do is debunk. It's not even a care plan document, my lovelies. This awareness is causing hate. It's completely... Bethany, there's another one. Hello, Bethany. Again, it's not causing hate. It's not causing hate. What she is doing is safeguarding. It's a safeguarding to herself and others. And if you think that's hate, then that's up to you. But I can tell you that agency's involved. And I'm going to tell you this now and you can ask Dad. There was a plan in place by Mum and Dad that she couldn't be prosecuted for some of the things that she's been doing because of her mental health. The plan was Dad and Mum were to get her help and to remove her off of social media. We know that to be true. We have been told to use social media to raise awareness to protect other people from being damaged. Now, I know that you think she's your friend, but she's an incredibly dangerous person. Do your own due diligence. There was no hate in this life. Who you like, love. Who you like, I was about to say that word. Who you like is who you like. But I do know that there's a lot of scared people. There was a lot of people that have lost the money. Honestly, Louise, bear with, lovely. Oh, see, look, I've said lovely again. Told you, can't stop it. There was no hate in this life, just facts. Beth, you were told that an air ambulance was called, a helicopter.
Hello, am I here?
Yeah, wait 1 second, I'm just putting this up for Beth.
No worries.
Please look on flight radar. Oh, don't want to make me bigger, that's terrible. Please look on flight radar. This is the airspace where she lives. No air ambulance was dispatched. Oh, can I just remind you guys, anybody who is in the boxes, this live is being recorded by the Observer. This live is being recorded by the Observer. There is professional people involved in what we're doing. I am not some crackpot hate who's come on here to expose, like to do a, I don't know, I can't mention that creator, but like a hate live. This is not a hate live. This is safeguarding people. There is between 40 and 60 people that have come to me. And some of the stories are heartbreaking. Some are shocking. Beth, my friend here, is why I'm involved. She gave Kirsten giving sets. She gave Kirsten syringes. She gave Kirsten money. This is my friend. This is my adopted daughter. And I'm just doing it to protect her. This is why I got involved. Had my friend not been implicated, and Lulu, this is why I'm saying, had my friend have not been implicated in Kirsten's web, I never would have seen her. At all, whatsoever. So this is not hate. This is awareness. This is my friend. We went down the legal route. We were told because of her mental health, she cannot be done by extortion, by deception, which means only one thing, the deductions, if you rule it out, is that she has fictitious disorder, because therefore you can't do her for lying about medical illnesses because she thinks she has them. So it's not a hate live. Right, Louise, do you want to take away the next bit? Obviously, we've got one of the mods in the chat. They do report me. They have been coming here to report me. This is not a hate live. It is an awareness, isn't it, my lovely?
Yes.
You are part of helping.
Yeah, so I've been helping with the Discord. I have type 1 diabetes. I have had type 1 for about almost 7 years now. I have had so many instances of DKA through, like diabulimia and things like that. I've been through the ringer with it. I think I know the DKA protocol inside out just from how many times I've had to be admitted with it. The standard protocol is, like you say, anything maybe like 0.5 to 0.7 is kind of starvation ketones. 1.5 is maybe when you're kind of like, okay, is my pump sort of like malfunctioning? Do I not have enough insulin? Anything above 3, you're kind of contacting your diabetes team. I've had ketones of 8 before, which was so incredibly high. Once you're hitting the kind of, you have ketones of around 4 to 5, you should be kind of going to A&E because you likely have a lot of the symptoms of DKA. Symptoms of DKA is kind of like your vision can go blurry, I get incredible heartburn or like acid reflux from my blood literally turning acidic. You can be vomiting, feeling sick, obviously like standard diabetes symptoms of needing to pee more, drinking a lot of water. If you don't catch it enough, then you can be passing out and fainting from it. When you get into hospital, they have to triage you from you entering the hospital. They have to have you set up with IV fluids within 30 minutes just because of how rapid DKA can deteriorate you. DKA essentially slowly breaks down all of your internal organs and is slowly shutting them down one by one through lack of insulin in your body. It slows your heart rate, it speeds your heart rate up because it's trying to work so hard. You have a lot of you have a lot. Sorry, I'm not very good at speaking. I get nervous.
Don't worry, you're doing great. Honestly, you're doing great, lovely. Oh, I said lovely again. Sorry, you're doing great.
You're doing great, Doc.
But you're doing great with that, yeah.
So my friends know when I'm a DKA because my breath kind of turns like acetone, and you can smell it on people. When you're admitted, they then need to do an arterial blood gas on you. They cannot do it from the same vein that they've taken previous ones from, so they need to check your ketones through arterial blood gas and to see what your pH levels are. If you have a pH level below, I think it's 7.30, then you are highly likely in DKA and you need to be put on potassium to then re-regulate all of your electrolytes and all of the, stuff in your body. So
can I add there?
Function.
Can I add as well, when you're on the potassium drip, you are actually also put on, my daughter was several times on a heart monitor because the potassium can actually cause a heart attack. So it's closely monitored. The protocol is closely monitored. Yes,
they have to push through potassium at a very specific rate because if you push it through too quickly, you will have a heart attack. They also, so usually when I've been admitted, I have one IV set up with intravenous insulin going through, which is usually it's not Novorapid, but Actrapid
Yeah.
is usually the one hospitals use. Then they set you up
Super
with
fast.
IV fluids to kind of null the potassium going through. So you have a separate bag for fluids, then you have a whole bag for potassium. It's usually 500.
Don't tell amounts or anything, because again,
sorry.
we could be feeding, you know.
Yeah.
I'm really conscious now of people with fictitious disorder on this app.
Yeah, so it's IV potassium. Everything's going intravenous into your system, and then when your blood sugars are then coming back into range, they will then put you on a sliding scale, and you'll have usually a bag of glucose, a bag of fluids, and then your insulin going in. When you're admitted for DKA, you will be in for at least 1 or 2 days. I don't think I've ever been discharged.
And you have to discharge yourself like my daughter, but yes, absolutely.
Yes, unless you do that, but stereotypically, you have to have a blood gas done every 4 hours, but like I said, they cannot do it in the same spot. They cannot do it if you have, say, your glucose bag running through your left arm. They cannot take it from that same vein because it will skew the blood gas results. You have to have an ECG done immediately to check that you're not having a heart attack, and you are usually on a 24-hour heart monitor with your blood pressure and keto is checked hourly for the first 24 hours, blood sugars hourly, and then they move it to 4 hours. And yeah, it can deteriorate very, very quickly. There are some cases where you can get DKA with normal blood sugars, but it's kind of rare. I can't remember what it's called, but it does happen in very particular circumstances. Potassium does need monitoring, because if it's pushed through too quickly, you can have a heart attack.
Exactly, and that's the thing. Doesn't matter what type of diabetes you have. I have some friend in the chat with type 2 who was following like a ketosis diet, who it did trigger her into it. Doesn't matter. The DKA protocol is the DKA protocol. Doesn't matter if you say you have type 3C, type 1, or if you're of extremely rare type 2. The DKA protocol is the DKA protocol. You can't deviate from it. You can't change it.
No, they have to stick to a very strict thing. Like I say, the moment you step foot in the hospital with DKA, you have to go from waiting room to triage to on some sort of treatment within 30 minutes.
So, no, thank you. Honestly, thank you for explaining that. Again, all we're doing is no hate. It's no, she said this and she did this and whatever. We are just literally saying, this was said. We believe this is factually not true. And here's the evidence. Beth, all of you mods, what you believe is what you believe. I'm not telling you to believe anything or not. I'm just giving you facts. And I am giving you facts that you are following a care plan. My children's care plan is a massive document that I have to give the schools, the clubs that they go to, the boyfriend for the oldest one. It's a massive document that tells you what to do in an emergency. It isn't something that says, if they're looking like this, call mum. My children's protocols are, if they are looking this way, call an ambulance, then call mum.
Yeah, especially when it comes to low blood sugars. Like, hypos can be fatal so quickly. There are so many people that die from having low blood sugars because maybe they've been drinking alcohol, and alcohol lowers blood sugars, and the symptoms for a low blood sugar can be confused with being drunk. So there have been people that pass away because they've not been treated quick enough for their low blood sugar because nobody knew. If you are having, or if you're with someone who is having that bad of a low blood sugar, your top priority would be calling an ambulance, who can get there way faster than anyone else could.
And again, that's another thing. Obviously, being a mum of a type 1 diabetic for 15 years, I've been in groups of hundreds of people with type 1 children. Observer, let me know who you want in. And unfortunately, we've lost a lot of them. I say a lot of them, a handful of them, when they've gone to university and they've gone and they've got drunk. and their blood sugars drop with alcohol.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I've not woken up. So this is some real serious stuff that when she's saying this stuff, it is triggering. It is triggering to people when you're giving information. Somebody messaged me to say, did the Observer say who they wanted in? Somebody messaged me to say that she had basically told them to stop giving herself insulin because she was fat.
That is so dangerous. I have gone through the phase of purposefully not giving myself insulin in order to maintain or lose weight, and that was the cause of a lot of my DK episodes. Not only are you doing damage to yourself there and then, where you could die from that one incident, you're also doing prolonged damage to your organs for the future with, like, you know, your eyes and all of your nerves and things like that.
Thank you. Honestly, thank you so much. So, yeah, insulin is your lifeline. So we've debunked ketones of 3, call ambulance. Please don't be calling paramedics if ketones of 3. The chances of her being in DKA are very, very slim. The other signs to look out for DKA is breath that smells of pears, which you wouldn't be able to do that because you're remotely. Profuse vomiting, to the point of literally you cannot keep anything in you. You will be profusely vomiting. And you would have laboured breathing. If you have those symptoms, that's when an ambulance will come out. If I phoned the paramedics up and said my child's ketones were 3, they'd be like, are you talking to the diabetic nurse? How about you, Louise?
My nurse would be
She's
like, why
struggling
did
to
you not
breathe.
just message me? Before I was diagnosed with type 1, I remember being so drowsy and sleepy all of the time. I could not stay awake. I was getting such broken sleep because not only could I not stay awake, I couldn't stop peeing every 30 minutes. It's awful to live with. I don't know why you would... And hypos are awful to deal with as well. I don't know why you would, you know, want to have those things, but...
Why do you block people for just joining the live? What's that? Is that for her, not me? I haven't blocked no one. Right, Louise, I'm going to listen to Cammy. Cammy, my lovely. Over to you.
Hi.
Hi.
Well, I'm almost too edge right now. I can't really talk. Sorry. I've got chemo brain, like brain fog. But I don't really get how she hasn't been charged or arrested for any of this. I mean, you know, Kirsten, it's disgusting.
Because sadly, so what we've been told, we can't be told, you know, we can just be told that the CPS can't prosecute because she has mental health conditions. Obviously, we know that the CPS can prosecute. I can tell you for an example, on the app, CLA is being prosecuted. She has mental health problems, okay? The CPS can prosecute people with mental health problems. The only reason that we can surmise why she can't is that if she had fictitious disorder, then the CPS, like, it would be, is she culpable? Does she know she's lying? I'm so sorry, they're practicing now. You've got the waterfall and the aeroplane.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Aeroplane, oh, they're going to come over me again. I'm on a flight path. So I think it's due to the fact that they cannot, because we were trying to go for, so noisy. We were trying to go for extortion by deception.
Yes.
I'm going to mute. 1 second. You're all going to be deaf headphone wearers.
Disgusts me, and I'm like, why would you want to be unwell? You do not, like, people who are faking, I mean, like, why would you want to be unwell? It's horrible to see. You don't know what any of our lives are like. The ones who do have actual illnesses, we fight so hard, and then just to see people like Kirsten doing that, it's pathetic.
Exactly. And the thing that worries me the most is that people like yourself, or people with chronic illnesses, or people with children with disabilities, people with disabilities, they can be quite isolated from the world. So social media has given them access to the world.
Yeah.
Beth, I would love to see your proof. I would love to see your proof. I would love you to talk to the sergeant. I would love you to talk to the head of safeguarding. If you strongly believe it, I would love for you to do what I've done. I'll give you their numbers. You call them. You call them yourself and do your own due diligence, because you're putting yourself in a situation that if anything goes wrong, you will be called in a coroner's court. You will be called up because they will like, why was that not done? Well, because Beth followed her care plan. She also claims to be neutropenic, Cami.
Yeah.
Can you explain about... Do you feel comfortable explaining about being neutropenic?
Yeah, neutropenia, yeah.
Well, are you comfortable explaining? Because all I want to do is I just want to give people facts about what it actually is and what it actually means and what you can't do. Is that all right?
Yeah. So neutropenia is when you have almost no or very low immune system, and you have to be quite careful sometimes. Like when it was around the COVID time, I always had to wear masks in public because it was dangerous just being outside. I mean, even it was just when COVID was finishing, but having like neutropenia too, it makes it especially dangerous. And with neutropenia, all of your counts are like quite low, or can be quite low. So that's like your platelets, your blood levels, your potassium even.
So again, like, would people around you when you have neutropenia, would people around you be gloved up, aprons?
If it was like nurses and in like a sterile area, yeah. If they was doing like medical work, I can't think. Sorry.
All right, lovely. Honestly, I'm really grateful that you came in the box and obviously added your opinion.
Yeah.
You know, because you are actually living it. And no, we're not telling people to go for a walk. That's not what this live is about, Beth. These are facts. These are people who actually have these illnesses. These are actual documentations from medical professionals on how to treat diabetes. So it is therefore fact. Have I once said for anyone to go and take a walk and have a cup of tea?
Hi Sally, can I
darling.
jump in there a minute? I have been a type 1 diabetic since I was 8 years old, so 23 years.
That's good.
I unfortunately have lost my eyesight. I've lost a limb. I had DKA about 4 times a year until I was 20. And honestly, I'm disgusted by what she shares. I just can't, people that are vulnerable, and like for me, I stopped taking my insulin because I believed that it was making me fat. I didn't want to be bigger, so I stopped taking my insulin completely, and it literally destroyed my body.
I've got to sit down now because I'm very tired and I'm old.
Sorry, 1 second. Hester, can you mute please for me?
You're a talker. It's red hot, that hot tub now, Jade. It's on 34 degrees.
There you go. Sorry about that. I do apologise.
That's okay. DKA, you'll probably be not laughed at literally, but if you called an ambulance with ketones of 3, that's ridiculous. without any symptoms as well. You know, when I had DKA, I couldn't even, one mouthful of water, I would literally throw up. I couldn't hold a single drop of anything down, even just plain water, for hours and hours, and I'd be on...
It is profuse sickness, isn't it? It literally is. My daughter had to pull alongside.
Yeah.
She got picked up off the motorway. Her ketones were higher than 7, should we just say, and she was profusely vomiting. She couldn't stop.
You can't even have one mouthful of water. Instantly, everything that goes into your stomach will come out 100%. You cannot hold anything down. And, you know, they can't get needles in you, cannulas, because you're so dehydrated and poorly that they struggle to get the needles and things in you to give you the medicine that you need. I remember having bruises everywhere from them trying to get cannulas in to give me the potassium and the glucose and the sliding scale that you'd have to be on.
And it doesn't matter. There is a standard protocol for DKA. So for your experience, because obviously I've said my experience, but I'm being accused by being a hater because I'm calling into question. But by your experience, if you had sugars of 4.5 and your ketones were 1.8, is that a medical emergency?
No way. No. My if I probably did mine now, my blood sugars, I have a pump. My blood sugar right this minute is 8.4. If I did a ketone test, I'd probably have somewhat, you know, you would always have some level of it, but that lower level, like, you wouldn't have many symptoms. You wouldn't be being sick. You wouldn't be so dehydrated. You're thirsty. Like, you could drink a whole bucket of water and you still feel thirsty. It's like you've never had water in your life.
It totally dehydrates all of your cells in your body.
Yeah, it's horrendous. And the fact that you want to just down water over and over again, but then you instantly throw it up, is like it messes with your head as well, because you're so thirsty, but you can't intake anything.
Louise, was that you?
Yes, it was. I was just going to jump in saying about the whole, like, starvation ketones are very common. From the moment I was diagnosed, I always got told not to check for ketones unless my blood sugar was above 13. Because if you're above 13 and you have ketones, then you might be sort of like, is my insulin pump leaking? But if you have blood sugars under like 10 and you're checking for ketones, one, you don't need to be checking for ketones because your blood sugars are in range. And two, if you do have ketones when you do that, they are likely starvation ketones, because your body naturally, people that have a low carb diet often have a lot of ketones because they're not eating very many carbohydrates. So their body is breaking down fat for fuel, which produces ketones, but not acidosis.
That's why you can buy on the shelf Libras,
yes,
other branded fast glucose monitors.
Yeah, a lot of athletes and fitness people do that because they're trying to stay low carb.
They're trying to stay lean, aren't they? They're trying to keep their muscle. They're trying to burn the fat to put their body into ketosis, which is where they will have ketones, but it's very different from diabetic ketone acidosis.
Ketosis is not when your body is trying to basically destroy your internal organs. That ketosis is only formed from your body burning fat for energy, and not when your body is starving from lack of insulin and has no way of getting energy, and is then breaking down and causing a chemical reaction which causes acidosis. Ketosis and acidosis are separate things. One's a medical thing and one is just kind of like a side effect from not eating carbohydrates.
We never see that. I can set my children's alarms to go off at whatever number I want.
Yeah, I think when I was, I had a lot of prolonged high blood sugars and I was kind of trying to wean myself down to a lower target. My hypo, markers, I could set my hypo alarms to go off at 7 or 8, because when you've had sustained high blood sugars for a long time, you can have hypo symptoms at around 7 or 8 because your body's not being used to sitting that low. You're not actually hypo, but it can feel like it. But you can definitely set your targets.
Yeah, I used to get
something else. Yeah.
I have my hypo target set at 4, which isn't a hypo, but I do that so that I just know that I'm at that level and I'm ready to eat something if it drops, so that I'm prepared and it's not a shock.
I was trying to explain to people that basically with type 1, 4's the floor.
Yes.
And because you have insulin on board and you have background insulin on board, that's why it's 4. For a non-diabetic person, it's quite common to be in the 3s when you wake up and you've had no food.
Yeah.
Your blood sugars could be in the 3s if you tested your blood sugars.
Yeah.
And I know some people that have obviously been used to being running high, and I have another naughty diabetic here.
I can relate to that.
Another naughty diabetic. That she feels hypo symptoms a lot higher because she's used to running in, you know, I'm not even going to tell you the numbers because it's just not good. But yeah, so she feels hypo symptoms a lot more than 4.
Yeah, I've had that before, particularly when I was first diagnosed. I remember I had hypo symptoms of around 7 and I was freaking out because I was like, but my blood sugars aren't low, but I feel hypo. And it's kind of like called a phantom hypo, so it's not actually hypo, but you have the symptoms of it. Another thing is I am a type 1 diabetic. I live by myself on my own, which can make hypos a little bit scary. My downstairs neighbour and best friend has so I'm on a Dexcom G6 and she has my Dexcom Follow, which means that when I am hypo, she has the Dexcom Follow app on her phone. She can see all of my blood glucose readings. She will be alerted when my blood sugars are hypo. We have a system set up that if I do not reply to a message she said while I'm hypo, then she will either come up and check on me, or if she is not nearby and I have not been answering, she will ring an ambulance for me so I can get help for my hypo. That's just a safety thing we have in place that makes me feel better and my friends feel safe about me living alone with diabetes. And I know that you can do it with Libra. It's called Libra Link, which I've had.
Can I show? I'm going to put up what you're talking about. So again, if she was having unexplained dangerous hypos, her CCG, under NICE guidelines, she would qualify for a CGM. She wouldn't be buying it herself. She would qualify for either, most type 2s now get Libras. She would qualify. So for my children, one of mine is on a Dexcom and one of mine is on a Guardian 4 sensor because they have the semi-loop automatic pumps.
Yes, with Medtronic,
So I hate the Medtronic one, but anyway, we digress. I love the Dexcom on the Pod 5. I love it, just saying.
I have the Dexcom G7, so my mum has my numbers as well.
So this is my daughter. She won't mind me sharing it. So it tells you she's currently 9.6 and she's going down. So we have prediction arrows. So if she was, Kirsten, this is, having things, she would have a prediction, and a carer, especially as she lives alone, would have the software to be able to say, it's really hard in a small box, but it actually shows you the graph underneath of her blood sugars as they've been today.
Yeah.
I'm quite happy to share that. It's got personal information on, so that's good.
My diabetes nurse obviously has access to all of my CGM data, and she kind of checks in on me from time to time because she knows that I live alone. She knows that I can be a bit of a naughty diabetic, shall we say. And if she is noticing that I'm having a lot, like, she can see all of my data, so she can message me saying, I think you need to change your dosage, you're having a lot of hypos, you're having a lot of highs, so that I can make those changes. If you're having so many hypos, your team would be intervening to be like, what can we do to fix this? Because this is not safe, it's not necessarily normal.
Not only that, I don't know about you, but I've had, when my children have had periods of either too many high sugars, and as I say, I've got an 18-year-old autistic with PDA who's a complete nightmare because, diabetes is the biggest demand you could have. You would have safeguard nurses triggered.
Yeah.
If you are not following protocol, if you're having too many, because the safeguarding nurses would be making sure that the diabetic nurses are working and keeping you safe, and that you or your carers are keeping you safe.
Yeah.
So it would trigger safeguarding nurses.
Yeah.
So
I used to have that when I was a teenager as well.
Yeah.
My diabetic nurse can see my whole pump, everything that happens, and the minute anything is suspicious, she'll phone me and say you need to put your, morning insulin up a bit, or just tell you what you need to do. Basically, you wouldn't just be left in the lurch, especially if you're having really big struggles with it.
Yeah. So I have other existing mental health problems that kind of takes a toll on my management of my diabetes. My diabetes nurse and my CPN communicate with each other very closely, in the sense of, if my diabetes nurse sees that my glucose is not looking great, she will notify my CPN, who will then kind of see what's going on with my mental health and whether there is a problem, and vice versa. If I turn up to an appointment with my CPN and I'm clearly, evidently in DKA or something like that, she will then go and message my diabetes nurse. They work so closely together to make sure that I am looked after.
Can I just make a point before anyone else speaks, please? Guys, it's probably not best to respond to the mods in the comments. The reason being, like I said to you already, the MO of that particular side is to come over and discredit people, to bait them, to say malicious things so that they can make it out that you are bullying and that she is a victim. We are keeping this factual. We are debunking things that she said, so please do not respond to them. If they choose to believe her truth, that's up to them. If they want to sit here and listen to what people have to say and it makes them question her care plan, all the better. Because to be fair, as I've said to them before, they are personally liable and they need to make sure that they are safeguarding themselves. Also,
can I just jump in a sec?
Yes.
Just because I saw a couple of comments coming up about her paralysis. And this, I actually got blocked from blocked from her page because I commented about her paralysis. Now I don't have the same diagnosis as her, but I do suffer from FND, and my FND is very specific to limb weakness and paralysis. And last year I did end up with kind of full paralysis from the waist down, while that FND incident was ongoing. Now, I don't like that she refers to it as paralysis. It is the easiest way to refer to it as. But when she, I called her out in her live, I was like, well, it's not, you're not actually paralysed because you don't have a spinal cord injury and you don't, your nerves or anything are intact. It's just limb weakness or lack of sensation. And a lot of people do say, apparently, her mod's commented in the comment section that she's been paralysed for 2 years, or someone else said 3. Now, I was very lucky that I had access to 3 times a day physiotherapy, and I asked her in her live, where people were asking her about it, what physio she'd had, and she said none, there's nothing they can do. And I said, well, that's not correct. I said, if you're suffering from any limb weakness or loss of sensation or loss of motor function, you can get that back. It's hard work, but it's not physically impossible, and this is what she was saying. But everyone else says she has very good muscle tone for someone that hasn't been able to use her legs. Now, my experience, I was completely wheelchair bound for 10 weeks before I could even take my first steps. And in those 10 weeks, I lost enough muscle tone that it took me a year and even now, a year later, I'm still not fully functional muscle tone wise, because once you've lost it, you have to work incredibly difficult to get it back. So that does prove that in some way or another she is exercising her leg muscles, and that she is actually able physically to move them. And I have seen them move in a live, which did annoy me, because when I was completely wheelchair bound, if I was in hospital, if I was put in a bed, I would fall asleep and wake up in the exact same positioning. There was no movement whatsoever, absolutely nothing. I wouldn't have been able to, twitch my thigh or move my muscles or, jiggle my leg. And I've seen a live, she did a live where someone was asking for proof of a prescription for her anti-epileptic medication. And the way she jumped off that bed, I thought, if you have lack of muscle tone in your legs, or you have no motor function in your legs, you would not move that way at all. It would have been very slow, very controlled, because there's just no signals going to your muscles. And I just wanted to clarify, as someone that's been through that, that is not how you would present if you had no function in your legs whatsoever.
Can I ask you a question? So I saw a live where someone was questioning about her paralysis, and she told people, and I think this was very insulting, that if you had a spinal cord injury, you could possibly walk again.
No.
But when you have a neurological reason for being paralysed, there is no way you could ever walk again. Now, obviously,
that is incorrect.
When you have FND, it is a neurological problem. Esther, my mum in the comment, her mum has FND, and it's like literally she loses the ability to walk. Then she goes through physio. She's lost the ability to speak. Then she, and it does come back. It's different times. But I found that to be quite insulting for people that have spinal cord injuries.
I think if I'd have heard that in that live, I would have lost it. Because full paralysis, if you have a spinal cord injury, there is no way of ever regaining motion or movement. You have fully severed the spinal cord. There is no way any signals will get through.
Yeah, that's true.
There's no connection. FND, yes, is a neurological condition, which means, if I'm okay to just dive into what that is a little bit. Yeah. In the case of
she has FND. She has said she has FND.
See, when I asked her in that live if she had FND, she said she didn't. But FND, for people that aren't aware, it is a neurological condition, and it is a very broad condition. So I'm only going to talk about my experience with like paralysis and limb weakness. But essentially, how it is explained to me is that for whatever reason, my brain gets very overwhelmed. And there's no physical problem with my brain. Everything works as it should. There's no physical problem with the nerves, the muscles, any of the sensory parts. But my brain just gets very overwhelmed, and it goes on a little holiday, and it forgets that it should be controlling some body parts. It just doesn't send signals. There's not a problem with the signals getting through, which would be the case if there was a spinal cord injury. Those signals just would not travel that far. The brain just doesn't send the signals. And so you can get function back. Now, in some very rare, unfortunate cases, some people don't regain that function back. It all just depends on what triggered your FND, if you're aware. But for range of motion and movement, you can get that back with physiotherapy. Once your brain kind of re-engages and figures out what it should be doing, yes, you will have lost muscle tone. Yes, you will have weakness, but the signals will be sent, and you have to, it's like being a toddler and learning to walk again. You kind of have to connect the dots and join the pieces. And that is with a lot of physiotherapy. In my case, it was 3 times a day, for 10 weeks till I took steps. And then, but it's not like you learn to walk and you're fine. You have to relearn to do everything. You learn to go up and down stairs, learn to squat, get on and off a sofa. I still can't properly walk backwards, and it's been a year. Because that's not most.
We did say obviously about a spinal cord injury. There was 2 types. There was a complete and an incomplete.
Incomplete spinal cord injuries, there is still some signals going through. So like you may still have like some movements in specific parts of like your lower legs, like your toes, for example. You might have some sensation in your toes. Depends on which part's severed and where, and how much that covers. It's like always things like if you have, for example, sciatica is a specific nerve. So if you have sciatic pain, you will feel that pain in one place. So if you have a spinal cord injury that just severs that one part of the nerve, that's the loss of sensation you will lose. It won't be all of it, it'll be some of it. But for her saying that if you have a neurological condition, you'll never ever walk again, that's completely untrue. Completely untrue. That's not to say that obviously once you've learned to walk, you're not ever going to have another really severe FND event and you're going to then lose that weakness. But you'll lose it, you might gain it back, you'll lose it. But also it's not consistent. Yes, I lost complete function for 10 weeks, slowly, gradually learnt to walk again. I can now walk. That doesn't mean I don't have FND. So equally, if she could come out and say, if she knew that much about FND and she said she had FND, it's a variable condition with other neurological conditions, with other mental health conditions. Diabetes is not the same every day. It's not, you've lost it and you're never going to get it back. That's what annoyed me in her life, is that she was like, no, I didn't have physio. and I'm just never going to walk. And I was like, but you can move. That's the thing. You can move. So, but there were comments on the chat about the paralysis, and so I just wanted to clear that up.
No, thank you. I appreciate. I think Cammie's got something. I think Cammie's got something to say on this before, and then we'll hear from Kat Marks. I think she wants to talk about diabetes.
I'm going to jump down, but thank you for having me.
No, thank you, Amber. Keep on. Amber, I might message you if that's okay, because if you don't fancy talking to an 18-year-old that's really struggling, do you?
Yeah, I will do. Yeah, that's fine.
Thank you, love. Oh, I'm going to say lovely. But thank you. I will message you.
Oh, hey, bye.
Thank you. Bye. Cammie, did you want to speak on this bit?
Yeah. So about like the spinal cord injuries and stuff. From my experience, what actually caused me triggered, I can't explain it. What got me into like being diagnosed is I went paralysed from the waist down in the space of 4 days. I had an tumour pressing on my spine, and it caused paralysis from the waist down. And
can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Have you ever been in her lives?
Have I ever what? Sorry.
Have you ever been in her lives? Did you watch her?
Yeah, I have.
The only reason I say that is because there is different reasons she said she is paralysed. One of them was tumours on the spine. That's why I asked. Because yeah,
I haven't been on that live stream though. I don't really watch her anymore because she annoys me, and I actually got blocked by her on one of my accounts because I asked her if she'd changed her tube tape, which I don't really get how that's offensive. But yeah, anyways, I went paralysed from the waist down, and I learnt to walk again, and it took me about a year just to learn how to walk with a walker again. And then it went from walker to walking stick, and then it went from using no walking stick at all, which is now. But I am still quite clumsy and very clumsy. And the way she moves her legs and jumps up, I think even if you had incomplete paralysis, muscle wastage exists, so you wouldn't be able to move your legs that much if you was paralysed. No matter the severity of it,
and you lose your legs become a lot slimmer.
Yeah,
I don't mean that in weight or whatever, but you have muscle wastage.
Yeah.
Bless you. Can we? The comments are saying you're an amazingly strong person. Everybody give Cameron a follow.
Thank you.
I'm going to hear from Katmar. Is that all right?
Yeah.
Cammy, join our Discord, lovely. Some nice
I don't have Discord, and I don't really like it because
I know. I thought that.
Yeah. So I'll have to say no on that one, but I will keep updated on TikTok.
Yeah, lovely. I'm going to make sure I'm going to give you a follow. You keep strong.
Thank you.
Give you a follow. Katmar!
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can. Can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, so I'm not a brilliant speaker. I don't really do these things, but I'll give it my best. So I first saw her scrolling, and she was talking about blood sugar. So obviously, the background is I'm type 1 diabetic. I've been type 1 for 16 years. So I jumped into that live, and I was asking questions. She told me she was type 3, and that is a emerging classification for Alzheimer's.
No, she meant 3C, didn't she?
So I said, do you mean 3C? And she said, yes, that's the one. I have damage to my pancreas. I am a diabetes nerd, so I read about these things. And I said, what management are you on? And she said that she wasn't. And that immediately struck me as incorrect. So I was like, oh, okay. And I understand that she is tube fed. I can't comment about that other than I said, oh, like, that must make carb counting easier, because obviously it's very specific of the nutrients.
It's on the back of the packet, isn't it? No carbs and cows app needed there.
Yeah, and she said, again, oh, I don't do any of those things. And I thought, oh, okay, awesome. That doesn't add up. So for me, I was taken in because I thought she was diabetic, and then immediately left with more questions. So I just wanted to read to people to keep it factual. I am on diabetes.org.uk to just read a small excerpt about how you manage type 3C diabetes, if that's okay.
You do it. That's all we're doing. We're providing people with facts to make their own opinions of what she's saying.
So while type 3C is a newer classification, damage to your pancreas isn't. And the issue that people had before is they would be diagnosed as type 2 instead of type 3C, which recognized the damage to your pancreas. So managing type 3C can be a difficult thing to do. There isn't a one-size-fits-all treatment because it comes down to how much damage your pancreas has, because the damage to the pancreas inhibits insulin production, which is why so many people get wrongly diagnosed as type 2 instead of noticing that it's a damage to the pancreas that is inhibiting production rather than your sensitivity to that hormone. So you are likely to start on metformin to help manage your blood sugar level. Metformin works by helping the insulin you produce to work better. This should then reduce your blood sugar level. But if this isn't enough to manage your blood sugar and other things I won't mention, you'll move on to insulin. Many people with type 3C diabetes require insulin at an earlier stage compared to people with type 2 diabetes to help manage their blood sugar levels. Some people, if the damage is lesser, metformin will be okay. But the answer of I'm on no management simply doesn't make any sense, because she is having hypos. So again, I won't comment as to whether or not I believe they are legitimate or anything. Can
we just question that bit? I just want to question it. I want to put it out there.
Yeah.
What evidence do we see that she's having hypos?
Well, I mean,
what factual evidence do we see that she's having hypos?
We see what we are shown.
So what I mean is, like, we hear an alarm, which we've already said an alarm can be set at any rate. Yeah. So we hear an alarm.
Mine's set slightly higher because I had to come down slower on hybrid closed loop because I've got retinopathy. But yeah, you hear the alarms. I don't believe the blood readings are shown if they are done. And obviously
the finger prickers that we see.
Well, I'm not sure. I think I've seen before them be, they're usually numbers that if they are below 4 at all, they aren't so far below 4 that losing consciousness makes sense. I'll put it that way.
And what I mean though is I've seen her prick her finger with what they would use in the hospital, which is a disposable lancet,
disposables, yeah.
Which is not something that you would be given by a diabetic nurse.
I actually do have some.
Do you?
However, I do. Get them from? I honestly can't remember because I've just got 16 years worth of diabetic related. Sorry, trying to think. I don't want to swear.
It's all right.
But yeah, we get prescribed the actual lancets to go inside the machine that is given to us with our meters.
Usually, if you have a separate pen, it's a fast clicks, a multi clicks, or it's actually a pen that comes with the meter. Generally, the CCP do an agreement, don't they? The meter themselves, she seems to have a couple of different meters that I've seen on the screen.
This is something else I would like to briefly touch on, if that's okay.
Yeah, that's it.
So she said that the one she was prescribed was inaccurate, which is just not something that is true. You wouldn't be prescribed a glucose meter that was inaccurate, because that technology is really down to a fine art at this point, and you definitely wouldn't get it from a medical professional. I'm not even sure if any glucose meters would be inaccurate, unless they are the older technology in which you have to calibrate.
Can I jump in?
Yeah.
I think with the glucometer, so I've used the Freestyle as a glucometer, I've used the Kerasens, I've used, I think, Nexus and the Gluco RX ones. Each manufacturer basically has like a margin of what is like classed as accurate. Like they all vary,
don't they? Because I've been geeky, I've done it, I've actually checked all different ones.
If you have like 4 glucometers and a CGM and you did a finger prick and you use the same drop of blood for each of those meters, you would get a different reading, but they won't be so wildly different that it would make that much of a difference to the way you treat it. So maybe one says, say, like 5.5, the other says 5.6, one says 4.9. They're all within the margin of what is classed as accurate.
And so the one that she was prescribed, she said it was a NX, and I believe she meant the Gluco RX, because that is a system that's used in the NHS.
That's the current one, isn't it? So we got given those because they did ketone and glucose.
Yeah. And then more recently, I saw a live recording where it flashed for just a second. But again, I'm a diabetic nerd. And also, it's a machine that I had for a few years. That it seems to me that she is using a Freestyle Optium Neo. And another reason I happen to believe that is that the glucose strips required for said machine are in fact on her Amazon wish list, and I do get those prescribed.
Me also, because I'm also on Freestyle. Well, I don't use the Freestyle Optium like little one. Mine is the old
CGM upgrade, right?
Yeah.
So you've got the Freestyle Libra 2 reader.
Yeah, that's what I use. I use my Freestyle 2 Libra reader because I'm on Dexcom, which does have a handset, but they don't give you one now. You just use it on your phone. But I have also noticed that when she does show a reading on her glucometer, she only ever really shows it to the camera when it's reading about 4.5 and 4.7, which is a completely normal blood sugar reading. For a non-diabetic...
I do mine now, but I'm a wuss when it comes to
for a non-diabetic, a glucose reading of 4.5 or 4.7 is completely normal.
Yeah.
I could test my friend's blood sugars and it would be likely that if they've not had lunch.
Yeah.
It never seems to show it if it's lower than that.
I fear there's a bit of rampant misinformation going on with CGMs at the minute because of the wellness industry, where you see them say things like, oh, you shouldn't eat fruit because watch it spike my blood sugar, when it's just what eating is if you don't have diabetes, right? Because you take in the sugar and your body produces the hormone insulin to manage said sugar. However, if I can go back to the meter part of this conversation, I have now seen her say that she gets Libra 3 on prescription. She has also mentioned a DSN. I have never met a DSN I didn't adore. I will not tolerate DSN slander. There is no planet in which a DSN would prescribe you a CGM and leave you to purchase your own blood sugar strips. That does not make sense. They are your best friend medically. Mine has had arguments with my GP practice. Mine are wonderful. Love them, love them. However, also with the CGM, the Libra 3, you would receive a reader. So while Dexcom, it's like runs through apps, and obviously, Louise, you understand that. We've got apps on apps on apps for managing.
Yep.
Libras come with a sensor that can be used independently of a smartphone, but also has the means to test your blood sugar and your ketones. And it's the same strips. Freestyle haven't changed those strips since we used to get them in a plastic tub. And those strips, I've got the bit of paper here because I don't want to say anything that is not true for reasons that are, you know.
We are keeping it factual. It's not a hate live. We are keeping it factual. We are just debunking some of the stuff that she said. So, absolutely.
So the Freestyle Optium Neo is compatible with the Freestyle Optium strips, as is Freestyle Libra meters. So if I'm trying to think of ways to get people that aren't sure who to listen to, where they can easily refer to this information and see for themselves the way that I saw very quickly that things don't quite add up when they should add up easily. And one of those is in that wish list are blood sugar strips. In that, on diabetes.org.uk, you can look at the information they have on type 3C. The management is a faster pathway to insulin than type 2. Pancreatic damage isn't new, the classification is newer, but it's also documented in very official places. And I would urge nobody to just believe what I say and to go on your computer, diabetes.org.uk, that's our main official foundation in the UK, and you can for yourself see how some of us, so most of the diabetics, are spotting that those things don't track.
Could I possibly pop in quickly? Sorry, could I quickly say something? As a hypoglycemic, my GP, the same with Quinn, who's on this live as well, we both self-fund our CGMs through the Dexcom website, being hypoglycemic. So I'm guessing it might be slightly different. My cousin's diabetic and she gets most of her stuff prescribed for her. But for me being hypoglycemic, I can't get a lot of my equipment prescribed to me. I have to fund for it myself.
Without being too nosy, is there a reason that you go into you're hypoglycemic without being too nosy? If you're not comfortable, you know.
So for me, I think mine now. I used to have. I'm recovering from an eating disorder.
Okay.
But my hypoglycemia now being recovered is still there. It hasn't changed. I have the follow-up which Quinn follows. My sugars, no matter how much I get them up, will always drop back down into 3.9 or below. Quite a few times a day. No matter how much I try and get it up. But the difference for me is I don't go high. I just go low. So I normally can't get mine above 5 normally. Mine says 5 or below, and a lot of the time during the day I can get it up to 5, but it won't go above.
What would be the lowest you would drop to?
Lowest I've dropped to undetectable low on my CGM and my food.
And they don't. I think that's crazy that they don't.
Yeah, they don't.
Because I do know that it's quite common with the ED. Sorry, Quinn. Yeah, please join in.
I'm not hyperglycemic. I'm reactive hyperglycemic. So obviously my pancreas produces too much insulin after I eat. And I've been to my GP, and I've had full blown arguments with my GP because I'm on the Dexcom One Plus. And I have to self-fund everything myself. I've been on the waiting list for endocrinology for over a year now, and I'm still waiting. And I've been undetectable low on Dexcom, and on a finger prick I've been 2.3.
I've worried and I've sat there spamming. I think sometimes Quinn might get a bit annoyed by the amount I spam. Because we follow each other's Dexcoms, we can see if we drop. Especially when someone doesn't answer the phone and I can see they're dropping, I kind of spam. We have a little group chat of some of us who we follow each other so we can keep each other safe. So if we can't get, like, if we're unconscious from a hypo or anything like that, someone else has asked us to contact someone who can come and help us. So, like, my nan would come and help me. One of my friends, like them, would message me now.
You're fading a bit. Can I just say, between Quinn and Chronic Jazz, I would really love to talk to you because off the app, because I do know that hypoglycemia. First, well done on recovery of easy, because I know obviously that's hard. But I would really like to help you. Have you gone to your MPs about it?
No.
Okay, I would really love to help you, ladies, because I think there's a very good reason. You can do what's called an IFR, which is an individual funding request. Which is on a case-by-case basis. So rather than the CCG put out a blanket policy that anyone with hypoglycemia, because obviously hypoglycemia can happen to anybody, but recurrent hypoglycemia, I'd really like to work with you ladies and try and get you to have an IFR and go to your MPs to be able to have that. So I know what I'm doing at the moment. Is obviously getting this person the help that they need and safeguard others. But ladies, this is what I do. So I would really like to help you guys. I do know the system, so I would really like to help you fight to get continuous glucose.
There is someone else who might be worth getting in touch with as well.
Can you both message me? And yeah,
definitely.
All right, and all right in the correct way of whatever that happens to be. I don't know about her diagnosis. I don't know what's going on.
We don't have a medical records. That's not what we're doing here. We're just trying to safeguard her.
Yeah.
Because we do see the, and I'm really sorry to say it, but I do see the opioid nod. Yeah. And I am safeguarding other people because
saying that Narcan is illegal. That really got under my skin. It's absolutely not. And if you are prescribed opiates or otherwise, you should be informed about Narcan.
And Narcan is prescribed to known opioid abusers. And I don't mean that because the whole point of people living in chronic pain now is where I live now, they will not prescribe opioids for people with chronic pain because you build a tolerance, you need more, and it's highly addictive.
But it's like little bits of information like that, which are potentially to shield some of the things that she's saying. It's so dangerous to think about the implications of people taking that information on as truth and going about business with, we all have to interact with each other in some form. And we've got people being accused of faking, and other people are bringing out their medical history to share just to avoid being attacked, and it's not a good environment. The disabled people find community in each other because we need each other. We seek out people with our conditions because to live it is to understand it. I love my DSNs, but if they're not diabetic, they don't know the feeling. They don't know the mental of it all the time, and when there is someone in our community that is causing harm, we absolutely have to do what we can do about it. And it would appear to be this, which is not a hate campaign. We are sitting and telling you factual information that I urge people still to not believe from my mouth, but to go to said sources and learn yourself.
I find from listening to everything, I don't see this as like a hateful live. I see it as not only to protect everyone else in the community, but to also maybe to shed light and maybe help Kirsten herself in what she's doing, because obviously there's definitely something going on for these things to happen, but not the things I think she might be saying they are.
Yeah.
It's like we don't know, and I would be surprised if we ever actually know, but it's just trying to keep ourselves and the people in disability communities that often find each other online because of the way of chronic illness. We spend a lot of time at home, isolated, and someone is seemingly, I've heard enough stories to believe that someone is perhaps using that community and the goodness that we have for each other in a malicious manner. That's what I'll say. But that's all I wanted to say. So
Thank you, Fatma.
Go to Diabetic websites. There are lots of organisations with official, completely factual evidence that you learn from those places, perhaps, just to keep yourself good.
Yeah, I also would say that it's not also there's certain people in the chronic illness community, like the younger ones, the vulnerable ones, the ones who have other learning disabilities to go with it. They're a lot, obviously, we're all very at risk to certain things like that, but those more so, the younger ones, the ones with more development delays and things,
minors. There has been minors that have contacted me that have been part of that group.
They're not age restriction on her.
There should be, but there's not. But
how do I get down from here? So
I'll kick you out, love. I'll kick you out.
I definitely have to agree with what Jess said. As an older epileptic, it's really scary. I mean, I've denied clonazepam as a medication myself because I just don't want to be on anything that ends with azepam, if I'm personally honest. So seeing her say that she's on all these different medications is absolutely terrifying, because it's not that it normalises it. There's nothing wrong with normalising medications, but normalising all of these mixtures of drugs and younger people seeing that and thinking, oh, it's okay to be on, diazepam, clonazepam, and like 8 different medications. It's scary, and if it's not truthful, then it's not okay for people to think that they can go out there and be on different medications. So making sure only the truth is out there is really important to the younger disability communities.
Absolutely, and that's what we're about. We're about safeguarding her, and we're mostly safeguarding other people. Right, Eric, did you want to speak, Melissa?
Yeah, just a couple of things, really. Just a couple of things, really, is I think I definitely agree with the whole clonazepam thing, because I'm on it as needed for anxiety and panic attacks. And, it's one of those things where it is, when you're on it, you are told how addictive it is if you take it too often, it's not the way that she's making out like it's, some, like paracetamol, for example, like she's making out like it's, no big deal that she's taking all these and mixing all of these, but like taking highly addictive medications, and making out like it's not, a massive deal to be taking it is so dangerous, because so many younger people are gonna, be going to their doctors and be like, I want to try this because I've seen somebody online trying it and taking it, and not necessarily being fully informed on what it's like, because just I guess encouraging the use of highly addictive medications is, I wouldn't recommend it, just because it's definitely one of those things where you want to try everything before you try the really addictive stuff. And also the other thing is, people are going to look at her, and, people who are undiagnosed with various conditions, and be like, well, if my symptoms aren't looking like her symptoms, then I obviously don't have it, that kind of thing. And because she's like, oh, well, if you don't have POTS unless you're fainting, and things like that. And I'm like, well, POTS isn't a fainting disorder. It's, it's to do with your autonomic nervous system. So you can have it without fainting. There are plenty of people who have it who have never fainted a day in their life. There are people who have it who faint every day. So, kind of her making out like you could only have these conditions if you have all of the same symptoms that she has is dangerous. It's dangerous, because people could be suffering and be like, oh, well, I obviously don't have it because I'm not fainting or I'm not doing this. And, she's like, well, and people aren't going to then go to their doctors and, bring these things up. And it's so dangerous. And she, also makes out like she can't eat anything, she can't consume anything orally. But I was on her live the other day and she was drinking water. And I'm like, well, obviously, obviously I'm saying gastroparesis is different for everyone. There's some people who can intake things orally.
She said she can't.
and the way that she makes out like she is 100% tube fed, cannot take anything orally, but she's out here taking water orally. And I'm like, well, surely if you say you can't intake anything orally, you're saying your stomach is completely paralyzed, you're saying your intestines are partially paralyzed, yet you're drinking this water on live and not throwing up at all.
Yeah, and as someone's already said as well, she was eating toast, and she also ate gummy sweets, which I was really gutted because I thought they were dinosaur crisps, and I was like, ooh.
And she's like, you know, on her live, she was like, oh, well, I, you know, can't take anything orally, but I can have ice lollies and I can, you know, do all of that. And I'm like, well, then your stomach clearly isn't completely paralyzed then.
She did say one time, she said that she's so sick, never in her life has been able to eat orally. That's what she said on one of her lives, that she's never been able to do it. She's always been tube fed apparently, but there's obviously evidence of her eating food, her asking people to get her food and things. Lots of different things that just didn't add up, where she said that she's never been able to and she's always been this way.
I agree. I've seen photos of her in the past where, you know, no sign of a tube at all. And, you know, you'd think... And also, the fact is that she claims that she's been tube fed for this long, but surely most doctors and, you know, most of, like, my friends I know who are tube fed know that if you are tube fed for a certain amount of time, they then offer you a surgical, you know, feeding
she said she had that. She said she had that and it failed, and it caused damage to her liver.
Oh, I don't believe that one bit, you know. And she's just like, and I've been on her lives a couple of times, and, you know, people have, not because I've been looking for her, but just because she's, you know, popped up, and I'm like, I'll drop in and see what people are saying. And her mods have been like, well, if you share the live, I'm going to block you. Or, you know, like, and somebody
Don't tap likes on the screen. By the way, guys, tap the likes. Let's get on the FYP. She tells people not to tap the screen.
And I saw somebody ask in a really respectful, nice way, not saying you have this, but being like, hey, do you have Munchausen's or something like that? And she blocked this person, and this person wasn't being rude at all. They were just, you know, casually asking, which I feel like is a pretty valid question, you know, based on her history. And she could have
it is a valid diagnosis, and there are people out there with Factitious disorder. Please don't, we are not in any way discrediting people that have it. It is a mental health, you know, illness that totally takes over your life.
It's not like people who have it are they're not necessarily intentionally making themselves or others sick. They're doing it because it's the same way that, you know, somebody who's depressed isn't intentionally harming themselves. They're making themselves
sad.
They're doing it because that their brain is telling them that they have to. You know, they're not doing it because it's like when somebody has, you know, factitious disorder imposed on another, they're not harming their child or whoever they're looking after because they don't love their child. They're doing it because they think that they think they're doing it out of love.
Can I just say something really quick?
Yeah.
That is a good point, but the difference is between someone who has factitious disorder and someone who is just genuinely faking it is the difference between someone who has factitious disorder and genuinely believes they're sick. They are going to always 24/7 follow up with that role, whereas there's evidence of Kirsten quickly, you know, hopping out of her wheelchair because she thinks no one's watching her and things. There's literally, you know, there's screen recordings and things of her thinking that she's out of the view of the live and standing up out of her wheelchair to reach over and grab something because she thinks that she's out of the view of the live, but she's not.
Again, I think it's dependent. I did share the other day, my mum has it, and she did it with my sister, and my sister might be in the live, where my sister, we've got flexible joints, which obviously we know now as EDS, but when she was little, she wanted my sister to go to hospital, so she threw her downstairs to dislocate her knees. My mum had it herself after she saw the attention that she was getting from my sister, and she could go in and out of it as much as she liked. She is the most manipulative. I don't have anything to do with her. She's very manipulative. And it would be she would watch things on Casualty on the Saturday and be in the A&E on the Monday.
Yeah, so for me, I won't mention the girl's name or anything like that, but I had a friend a few years back and she was my best friend. You know, I loved her. She one of the things about you saying information, like earlier, that some people could take that information to themselves and things like that. Well, that is exactly what this girl had done. But instead of the point of it being factitious disorder or anything like that, it was to the point they knew what they were doing. They openly, I'm guessing accidentally, I was on the phone at the time and they were supposed to be on mute, but the unmute button, one of the younger ones had tapped it and unmuted it, which they didn't realise. And they were talking about me, like, cottoning on to what they were doing, and that she needed to distance herself before I figured it out. And I told people. And then I was threatened, bearing in mind I was at the time 15, 16. And I had grown adults telling me that they were going to come down to my house, throw bricks through my windows and things, if I was to tell anyone what she had done and what the family were doing. And it came out after that what they were doing is the girl was on a group chat with lots of other chronically ill people, and all the information we put into the group chat, turns out she was using this information to put it in letters and documents to claim for money.
That's why I'm very careful, because obviously we did have a live the other day and people were in the boxes a long time, but I'm really careful, like, though I want you to share your stories and factual information to debunk stuff, that your own personal experiences aren't used by people who are genuinely mentally unwell.
Yeah.
Because that happens a lot in her life. You know, she goes like, oh, what's the treatment for that? Are you on this? Are you on that? Are you using this medication or that? And I'm just really conscious that I want to keep it factual. I want to keep it like on point, and I don't want people to talk about in great detail their own, because everyone's like, your epilepsy is different to ghost epilepsy, and do you know what I mean? Everyone's got different symptoms or whatever, and these people that have this mental illness are like sponges. They're sucking it all up. They're fixated and they become hyper focused on it and then regurgitate it.
Like with kids, that's one of the things I was worried about. Some of the kids joining the live, seeing these things, their brains being sponges, seeing things like that, they take in information that could be false information at the same time, not necessarily use it, but they could have this information and go, I know how to help someone, when they were told this false information from a live or off of social media that isn't correct, which could detrimentally affect someone that they thought they could try and help. They couldn't, because of them not understanding that social media can be a very toxic place to be.
I just want to jump in quickly. I've got to go in a second because literally dinner's like 1 minute away.
Oh no, sorry.
It's all right. I just want to again openly apologise to Quinn. It actually breaks me when I think about how we all were to her. And I do want to touch on the fact that she will literally get every single one of her mods to go after someone, and she will state for fact that everything they've said is lies, that they've made up all of their conditions, that they've made up all of their evidence, that they're not on medication, etc. I can prove all this and will do tomorrow. 2 seconds. And she will then send mods to comment on, for Quinn, is a perfect example, to comment on Quinn's posts, to comment on her lives, and to try and make sure everyone's aware that that she was lying and that she was full of crap. I can back all this up with evidence. I've got the messages direct from Kirsten to me.
We need to speak about that, about how you're doing it, because
because I've literally got direct messages from Kirsten to me direct, not even in the mod group chat, telling me that Quinn is lying and that I need to go after her. Now, I didn't jump into her inbox, but I was really rude to her. I was very horrible to her, and I hold my hands up and admit what I did was wrong. And like I said, it breaks me when I think about how I was. But the only defense I will say for myself is I was really unwell, and I'm a lot better now than I was, but I was very unwell mentally, and I was the perfect target for someone like Kirsten, and that is what she does. Unfortunately, she will do it again and again.
It's okay, honestly. It's fine. It's been because it's a bit like, because of my memory issues as well due to my FND, it's been that long, I can't remember what everyone said, but it is genuinely, I know how manipulative she can be, so
I've seen
it.
completely
I
done.
was just about to say, like what we were saying earlier about vulnerable people being there and hearing this information, they're then manipulated, and not necessarily I don't know if she can tell that she's doing so, but what she is doing at the time is manipulating the vulnerable and the younger ones and things like that. And in that situation, you can see that you were given all this information, and if I was told that information about someone and I didn't know the person and I was in a bad mental state and someone told me that information, I would have probably acted the same way. Obviously, I stick by now, unless the person themselves say they're faking, or there is blatant evidence in front of you that they're faking, that I won't accuse people. For Kirsten, it's slightly, I'm not accusing them of faking or anything like that. I think they've got something going on, but I don't think it's the things they're saying necessarily.
Definitely not. The problem is she convinced you, like she told me the same with someone else whose name I'm not going to mention because they're not on the live, and I don't like bringing people in who aren't actually here to speak of it themselves, but you know who I'm talking about, Sally.
Mm-hmm.
She will generally go for people that she knows, or will state she knows them outside of TikTok and that she has proof. And the only reason I knew that, the only time that I realised that she was lying and she was manipulating me when she said all this, was she went after one specific person who I'd spoken to for months and had actually, for some reason, I think because of Kirsten and her accusations, had sent me all of her information to prove all of her illnesses. And she was telling me, oh, she's lying, she's not actually in hospital, this is happening, that's happening. And I was like, well, hang on, I've actually seen the proof. And then she's done the same with me and said that I have no conditions whatsoever apart from fibromyalgia, and that I have mental health problems, which I do have mental health problems. I am not ashamed to admit that. However, I have every single bit of evidence, which Sally's going to work with me on how I put it into a video. I have every single bit of evidence that proves all of my conditions. And if any of you have actually gone on my profile, you'll see I did a video calling her out and asking her, inviting her and saying, well, I'll show you my proof if you show me yours. And she didn't come on my live, did she, Sally?
No, 1 second. Sorry, Anya's urgent live.
I find that I'm so sorry that you had to sit there and give evidence of, you shouldn't ever have to yourself. You shouldn't have had to have felt like you needed to give that information to Kirsten at all, because that isn't.
That's another thing though. Kirsten talks of like mental health issues. They are the most disgusting thing on the planet to have. Like, if someone has mental health issues, she thinks you're the most repugnant person. Like,
yeah, no, most definitely.
Like, which is hilarious considering she has admitted that she has got what's it called? The one where you hear voices and stuff.
Oh, she claim she has schizoaffective disorder or something?
That's the one. Thank you, Eric. She said on many lives and on many videos that she has schizoaffective disorder. So it's funny how she hates people with mental health problems, yet she has them herself.
And what I think also another thing that's kind of harmful about what she's doing is that I feel like, especially younger kids, because we all know that there are so many young children on this app now. You know, there are kids as young as 7 or 8 on this app. There shouldn't be, but there are. And I think what's going to happen is younger children are going to come across her page, or, you know, come across whatever, and then think that it's also acceptable to lie and fake having things, and then it just continues the cycle on this app. A bit like, you know, when it was a thing, I don't know, in like 2020, 2021, where, you know, kids would put, you know, hoodies over their faces and pretend to have Tourette's. You know, it's just going to continue on because kids see somebody who's an adult doing it, and then they're like, oh, well, if they're doing it, then that must be okay. Yeah. Because they don't know any better, but because somebody who should know better is doing it, they're like, oh, then it's okay for me to do it.
Yeah, we've actually got evidence of someone who was 15 and who sent her £400. We have proof of
That's
that. So that's
insane.
statement of fact. We have proof.
And it's also kind of, and also kids are going to be like, oh, well, I have this symptom, because let's be like, there are a lot of symptoms that are symptoms of conditions that, you know, people just have, like not necessarily caused by anything, that you just have, like, you know, if it's hot and you stand up, your heart rate's probably going to go up. If it's, you know, you might occasionally feel dizzy if you haven't eaten, that kind of thing. But now kids are going to look at that and be like, oh, well, I felt dizzy this one time I stood up, so I must have POTS. Or, you know, I stood up and my vision went black, which, you know, is a normal part if you stand up too quickly. And they're going to be like, oh, well, now I'm, you know, iron deficient. Or, you know, kids are going to take symptoms that can typically be caused by absolutely nothing and are completely just normal parts of being a human, and are now going to think that they have these conditions that they probably don't have.
So she doesn't even like when she. I don't even know. I'm a bit speechless, to be honest. Like, I don't know if you remember this, Emily, but she'll also, when she runs out of things to pick on you for, she'll change it up. She'll be like, when she ran out of stuff like to accuse me of faking and that, she then switched it to my assistance dog and started saying stuff about my
Your assistance dog wasn't actually an assistance dog. He was just a dog you bought a vest for. I remember that. Remember that very well. Right, I've got to go because my dinner is literally served up. But I will be live tomorrow, 9:30 at night, because that's when my son will go upstairs and, I don't know, watch a DVD or do whatever he does in his bedroom before he goes to sleep. I don't want to know. So he'll go upstairs, and as soon as he goes up, I will be on live. If anyone wants to follow me or shoot me a message, feel free. Thank you for doing this live, Sally, and I will message you after my dinner to talk about how I do my live tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm going to wind it down myself, because I mean the first live I did was 5 hours. I don't even know how long this one's been. Thank you, Emily, darling. I will speak
love
to
you, babe.
Love we are. Is anybody? I know there's some people in the boxes, and I'm really sorry, but I wanted to get new voices in today. This is being screen recorded. It isn't a hate live, it's just a factual live. I want to thank everybody that came in and reaffirmed, you know, actual facts about their illness and discrepancies. I'm sorry the mods came in and tried to get a reaction from you. The best thing is to not give them a reaction, because they're deliberately trying to bait people to discredit us as trolls and haters. I never followed her. I'm not an ex-mod. I only came across her because she was in contact with my friend. So yeah, I'm home now. If you need me to say, do you know what, Carly? Do you know what, Kirsty? I'm going to get you in, because I do think it's really important. I don't know if the Observer's still screen recording, but I do think it's really important that we hear what she did. And also, Kirsty can tell you the problem is when you react to this person, she will get there first as the victim and be at the police station reporting you. So please be so careful. If you're joining Emily's live tomorrow, please be very careful about what you say. Keep it factual, keep it calm, no shouting. And just like we have done today, and she can't do anything. And it's really annoying her, because it's not about hate, it's about safeguarding her and other people.
And can I just jump in with one more thing before I hop off? I also think that, you know, when you go after her and call her out for things, she's like, oh, well, and because so many people believe her lies, you know, it makes it look like you're going after a disabled person. But I do think that it's really important to remember that, like, I'm disabled myself, and we are not exempt from being held accountable for bad behaviour. You know, we're not children, we are adults who, just like everybody else, need to be held accountable for things, you know. And it's so harmful to be like, oh, well, because, you know, so and so's got this condition or she's got these conditions, that she can't be held accountable when she, you know, goes after people and, you know, is horrible to people and sends, you know, her minions after everyone, because it then kind of sets a precedent, especially for younger children or, you know, old, like teenagers, who will see it and be like, oh, well, because I've got this condition, that means that I'm never going to be held accountable for anything. And it's just so harmful.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is, people are scared. I've had so many messages. People are scared to be doing this because she comes at them with such a vengeance. She comes at them, she baits them to give a response, and this is what I'm going to talk to Kirsty about now. So Kirsty, if she didn't respond to her and the things that she said about her child and herself, she could have put a malicious communications against her. But doesn't she, Kirsty? She deliberately baits you, and it's a very emotive subject when you're going for someone's child and parenting. She knows what she's doing. She is very, very calculated.
Yeah, definitely. Like, because I responded, and anyone's going to respond when it comes to the child and the things that she's accused me of with my child. You're going to respond to things like that, especially when it comes to your babies, aren't you? And she knew that was the only way to get at me. And that's what she did. She used my child just to get at me, because there were no other way she could even try and get at me, because like she got to a point when she was commenting Munchausen by proxy on all my videos where I posted proof of Kylie's diagnoses and illnesses, which I shouldn't have had to post proof, but I weren't being accused of the things that she was saying, and I have proof, and there's a video on my page of all Kylie's diagnoses on the proof. But again, then she went into private messaging me on TikTok so no one could see what she was saying. And it were these messages because I'd responded, and I said to her, I said, well, say what you want, I don't care, because it doesn't bother me. But because I said that it didn't bother me, she got away with saying what she said.
Because obviously I spoke to Kirsty about, you know, what she said would be malicious communications. And though we can't get for extortion via deception because our mental health condition, which we believe to be FD, but that doesn't protect her from malicious communications. But unfortunately, because Kirsty responded to her and said she wasn't bothered, and she has those messages and she's done it in the form of screenshots, she's very clever. So please, no matter what you're doing, if I've been speaking to people that are going to remain totally anonymous, they are scared of this person. They are scared of what this person has done. They've gone to her local police force and nothing has been done, which is why we've actually gone higher than that. I am genuinely, I sat there last night going, this person makes Joe off of you. I don't know if you've watched the Netflix series, look like a complete pussy. I'm not going to lie. I was like, this is like a Netflix doc that you'd watch and you think, nah, this is unreal. Now But Kirsty, do you want to say what she said?
Well, she commented on, it was the videos of the conditions that she portrays that she's got, like with the intestinal dysmotility or intestinal failure, whichever one she decides she's got on the day because she changes her mind. It was a video to do with that. And she commented Munchausen by proxy. The same with an epilepsy video. And there was a few other one where she had a big surgeries this year saying that they were fake. It wasn't fake. And then there was quite a lot of messages saying that she was ringing social services. I was the worst mum in the world. That Kylie's going to be took off me and she's going to be took into care because I don't deserve her, and she needs someone that can look after her because I've made her sick and she's not actually sick. Bearing in mind Kylie's got a very rare genetic condition as well that most people have never heard of. But yeah, saying that she was going to get me kids, she was going to get Kylie took off me and took into care. I don't deserve her. I've had mods message me saying that they're sitting there laughing, saying Kylie should be I'm not going to say the word.
Yeah, unalive.
Yeah. Laughing, saying that. I had one of them on the screen recording again, it's on my page, saying Kylie should have been swallowed. Tried to say that they weren't saying it about them, about Kylie, but it was about Kylie.
The videos are actually on the page.
Yeah, there is one video pinned, but if you go further down, there's quite a lot more videos than just that one pinned video. Like on the recordings that I've got, if she were talking about me, and if she'd say sick child, she'd use quotation marks with her fingers. Like, Carly's got the intestinal dysmotility, she's jet fed, she's got a drainage bag on 24/7 drainage. Carly's epileptic, she's got hypoglycemia. So all the things that Kirsten portrays that she's got, I called her out on it, and I sent her a long message, and I will send you this message, so you've got it.
Yeah.
And she told all her mods that I verbally attacked her on Messenger, and I deleted the message before she could show the mods what I'd said, but I haven't, because the message is still pretty much there. She just didn't want to show them the message because I called her out on every little detail on things that weren't wrong, that what she was saying was wrong. And I've still got that message, so I will send you that message.
Please do. Any messages that you do have, because I know you were told because you retaliated you can't do anything about it, but we've actually gone above Norfolk Police. We've actually gone to the Independent Police Complaints Commission. So I am actually going to get yours re-looked at. So please, because any mother, if somebody went for my children, trust me, I come 5 times harder. Any mother is an emotive subject. That's your child.
Yeah, exactly. And especially with everything that Kylie's been through as well. And it's pretty obvious on Kylie's page. You can see how much she's been through in such a short little time, bless her. And just to be accused of what she was saying, it was awful. And I weren't going to sit back and say nothing when I was getting accused of them things at that time.
Yeah.
It's absolutely disgusting. I don't think any mother of a seriously ill child's going to sit there and let someone on the internet tell a load of group of people that you've made your child sick. Because she compared me to Dee Dee and Gypsy. That's on a video as well.
I literally would have done the same thing. And I think any CPS or, police that didn't know people, you know what I'm going to say, would understand your emotive response.
Yeah, well, when I spoke to the police, they understood exactly why I said what I said and did what I did. They said because they would have acted the same way. Because of the things that they were disgusted in the things that she'd said, and they did go out and see her. But then her dad was just trying to turn it round on, well, she's getting trolled, she's doing this, she's doing that.
Okay, so with that actually backs up what I'm saying.
People have been quite a lot of trolls accounts in, and you were blaming over 50 accounts on me. I don't have time to sit there making 50 trolls accounts a day to go and troll her.
Sorry, I just wanted to quickly say I'm just going to head off now, but it was lovely to speak to all of you. I'm just going to head off of the live. But I followed you, Sally, so I can.
Yeah, please message me because I'm really keen to get both you and Quinn.
Yeah, I'm gonna hop off as well.
Yeah. Please message me, girls, because you can get an individual funding request. We'll fight it for you.
Thank you. I'll pop you a message.
Take care, ladies. All right.
Thank you. Bye.
I will also say with people, like her, is that, I'm all for, calling out people when they're lying, spreading the truth, things like that. I mean, my whole page is literally spreading the truth. However, I do think that people like her, they thrive off of attention and people talking about them and, being, talked about and attention. So I feel like the less that people interact with her, the less that people talk about her, the less attention that she's given, the quicker or the more likely she is to, be like, oh, well, people aren't giving me attention anymore, what's the point in doing this? Because we all know she's doing it for attention, we all know that she's the biggest attention seeker on this app at the moment. And I think that, if people just don't give her the attention that she wants, eventually she'll realise that, hopefully.
But the problem with that, Eric, the problem with that is that her dad is on live saying she has these illnesses. So you've got people saying to me, but why would he lie? Her dad, and I had it with my own friends, but her dad goes and he says that she's genuinely poorly.
People don't realise it's the same reason that Gypsy's... Sorry, last thing.
Yeah.
It's the same reason that Gypsy's mum lied, they're working. Well, I mean, obviously not comparing the case because they're completely different. Obviously, one's a grown woman lying and the other was an abused child. But it's similar with the parents. They they obviously get something out of it. So, you know, they're like, oh, well, I'll go along with it because I'm getting something out of it, you know. Either that or...
You are told to go along with it. With FD, it's almost like you're told to go along with it while seeking help for them.
Yeah, because the person, like, the person genuinely believes that they are, you know, sick. It's never been, years ago, you know, because I went down the whole rabbit hole of, you know, FD, all of that, because I was really interested in it. And I watched a couple of documentaries of people who literally went even more to the extreme as, you know, she did, to the extreme of, like, pouring chemicals in their eyes to go blind, getting, you know, body parts amputated, you know, because they purposely paralyzing themselves because they, you know, and somebody said you're not supposed to back up their delusions, but you've got to think, like, it's safer to go along with it while seeking help for the person than being like, you know, well, it's not real. The same way that you acknowledge if a person's, you know, schizophrenic, you acknowledge that, you know, they are seeing or hearing things that, you know you can't see, you know aren't real, but it's safer to acknowledge that while seeking help for the person, as opposed to being like, oh, well, you're lying, because all that does is push them away from you and less likely to get help because they're like, oh, well, no one believes me.
Yeah, absolutely right. Apparently, T, now, just before you start, are you happy to do this? Because anybody that does speak, that person who knows her or whatever, I'm just warning you that she does come for them.
Okay, that's fine. That's totally fine.
Okay, please take it away.
So I obviously used to go to primary school and high school with her. So obviously seeing her in live, I saw her live go like months ago, and I recognised her and I messaged her on there and was like, oh, like, I haven't seen you since school, like, how have you been and everything? And I know she has obviously like got a lot of trauma, because through school she was like quite a shy girl because her sister was Rebecca Wishes, who had cancer, who died. So obviously that did kind of like make an impact on her life and everything.
It would, yes, absolutely.
So obviously she did have quite a lot of time off school, but she had like no health issues or anything. Literally nothing. She was a perfectly fine child. Like, we used to be quite close. She used to live like literally just down like the road to me. But yeah, she was fine. Her parents were very protective of her, like especially her dad. She's very close to her dad. But I don't know where all this has come from, because she was fine as a child. Like, she had a big group of friends. She was quite shy. But I did know that she got sectioned as well. I think that was in the news.
It is. It's public knowledge. You're not saying anything that's not in the public domain. It is press articles about it. Yeah.
It was literally just down the road to me. So yeah, I did speak to her a couple of months ago, and I don't know, like, why she's sort of acting like this, because she was perfectly fine as a child, like healthy, no problems, other than obviously like mental health issues with her, like losing her sister and that. But I think
she was tube fed as a child, and she had TPN as a child, and she's always had the judge tubes, etc.
No, she hasn't. She never had tubes in school. I'm sure I've still actually got like school photos with her.
Yeah. So she wasn't a sickly child, because that's what her dad said as well. She's a sickly child. She had abnormalities on her MRI scan as a child. She had epilepsy as a child.
No, she didn't. No, none of those. That's what I've been watching your videos, and I was thinking, I was like, where does all this come from? Like, she was never a sick child. She was healthy. Like I said, other than losing her sister, that was all that was her problem. Which is understandable. This might have obviously led to why she's acting why she is.
Factitious disorder, which I strongly believe that she does have, is triggered by childhood trauma.
Yeah.
Or a trauma.
Because sorry, I keep jumping in. I'm just really opinionated on everything. But I do wonder, now hearing the fact that she lost her sister when she was young, those sort of things, you have to wonder that, obviously while her sister was sick and going through treatment and all of that, her parents' main focus would have been her sister, she would have gone on the back burner because she was the healthy child, she was the least of their worries. So you've almost got to wonder that could her parents having put all their attention on her sister caused
definitely.
her to be like, well, I need all this attention because I was denied that as a child.
Yeah.
And obviously, for anybody, losing your sibling when you're young is extremely traumatic as well. So, but that's kind of my thought, is that possibly her sister having all the attention could possibly have caused that. And I saw somebody say that they have PTSD through childhood trauma, but they're not like that. But I think is it really important to remember that trauma affects every single person differently. You know,
I'm a kid from the care system. I don't, but when your trauma has been around a medical situation, she would have seen her sister get attention from being poorly.
Yeah,
exactly. And to her, she probably obviously was not taught the appropriate way to get attention is asking somebody to spend time with you, you know, asking to do things with your parents. What she kind of was around as a child was, you have to be sick to get attention, you know.
But it wasn't just like a little bit of attention her sister got. Like, her sister, it kind of went a bit viral. Like, people were giving like so much money to them, like GoFundMe's, like they were fundraising. It was quite a big thing, so her sister did get a lot of attention. It wasn't just like a little bit, but it was like, it was pretty much viral.
And also,
it was media, wasn't it? It was all in the media.
Yeah, everything.
Yeah.
And I also think that, you know, trauma, obviously, like I said, affects every single person differently. So, you know, one person could go through all of the same things that she went through and, you know, be absolutely fine, be very minimally affected, but then somebody else could also go through that and be, you know, horribly affected by it. So I feel like kind of people in the comments kind of comparing, being like, oh, well, I went through this and I'm not like that. But obviously, not everybody's brain reacts to trauma in the same way. Like, I have been through trauma and I haven't necessarily been majorly affected by it, but I know that there are people who would go through the same thing and be affected for life, you know, that kind of thing. So I think comparing is kind of wrong, just because you can't compare trauma.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to say, hang on, someone's trying to call me. I just want to say that I'm really sorry if people didn't get in the boxes today. I wanted to hear from different voices, just purely because I don't know if that phone call's annoying it. Can you hear me again?
I can hear you.
I'm so sorry, I got a phone call coming in. I'm really sorry if you didn't get to come in the box. I have heard from some of you before, and what I'm very conscious of is if I keep getting the same people in the boxes, they are saying that you are haters and they are discrediting you as haters. I want to hear from as many people as possible that have been affected. I want to hear from as many people as possible that can speak a truth to debunk myths. It's been lovely to hear from T, to hear that, you know, as a child, she wasn't the child that she's portraying herself to be. So I'm really sorry if you didn't get to come in. Emily is going live tomorrow, and obviously Emily's live will be a different live. And even if you've spoken in my live, if you're in Emily's live, then it's not going to be that we are haters or trolls. So I do apologise. I'm so sorry. My live the other day was 5 hours, where I had as many people in the box. So I do apologise. Please, everyone message me if you've got information. I'm going to keep doing this. I'm going to keep on coming every day. I'm going to listen. If you haven't had a chance and you are somebody new that has something new to add, then please let me know. Message me, and I can do that. But if anyone keeps repeatedly coming in the box, you'll just get labelled as it's a hate live. And I'm really conscious I don't want to do that because of what we're doing. Our aim is to safeguard her, get her off social media, and safeguard other people. And I don't want us to be discredited as trolls and haters. Does that make sense? Carly, you know what I mean, don't you?
Oh yeah, I'm already a hater. I've been a hater since the beginning of the year, so don't worry about that.
Because also she is definitely a vulnerable adult who clearly, like, she doesn't need people to be hating her and, you know, being horrible. She needs people to encourage her to get the help that she needs, and to, you know, help her through her trauma and all of that. So I feel like, yeah, obviously we're not hating, we just want her to get the help that she clearly needs, and to heal from anything that she has been through as a child.
Yeah, and that's it, isn't it? Yeah, Judy, I totally understand, and say Emily's live is going to be a different live. Also, the Discord is open. If you want to talk to similar peoples, I ask people as well in the Discord to be respectful. Because again, anything, we have had people from her live come in and screenshot things, and I don't want you to be in any like trouble with malicious communications. Please be respectful, please speak the truth. It's very emotive in there. A lot of people have been hurt, a lot of people have been financially groomed or emotionally groomed or triggered with their mental health, and I understand that everyone wants to talk about that, but we just have to be very mindful of her tactic is to discredit people and become a victim. And she is not a victim. She has a mental health disorder and she does need help, but the victims are the people that she's done this to and took money from, and have said awful things like Kirsty. Kirsty's a victim of her. So, but she plays it, and I can't reiterate it enough. The stuff that I have read, I've gone, whoa. I didn't even think it was possible, some of the stuff that she has done. So let T answer some questions for recording, please. T, can you see the questions, lovely? Oh, God, I've said that word. I'm going to be fined again.
What questions?
There's questions for you. Right, fire your questions for T.
Can I just say before any questions come in for T, if you're going live again tomorrow?
Yeah.
I can, obviously it's a bit late now because I need to get the baby sorted and stuff, but I can go into detail more if you need me to on, you know, like the side effects with the intestinal dysmotility and stuff like that, if no one's gone into that information, because obviously Kirsten's betraying, she's got that, now Carly's got that, and I live with it day to day with Carly, and now it affects her. So if you do need me to go into detail on that,
I'll message you, because if the Observer wants to screen record, because she did want to screen record you today, and I don't know whether she's here still, because obviously this has gone on for a long time again. If you're happy to be screen recorded, then I'll call you in and get the Observer in.
There's quite a lot of them illnesses that I can go into a lot of detail on, with a lot of proof that I've got because of Carly.
Have you got screenshots as well of the other stuff that she has said that has been in the public domain? Because there is a way of doing the private messages, but we mustn't dox any information, if that makes sense.
I think the only screenshots I've got and everything I've got are what's on
your page.
My page, yeah.
If you put it up, if the Observer's screen recording and you put it up, it's getting it out there. She's putting it all on her YouTube page as an awareness.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I can go into detail on like the side effects of the illnesses and the things that she is saying, because again, I've dealt with it for 4 years with Carly, and that's when, like, because it was to do with a drainage bag that got me, and that's when it all kicked off with me and her. And it sounds stupid that.
Well, the fact it's a catheter bag on there, but
no, because I asked how many mils she could lose in a day, and she said there's no limit, but there is a limit, because draining from your stomach's all your electrolytes and stuff that you need. And she told me there were no limit. I'm like, but there is a limit.
And it's dangerous to get that out. Yeah. I'll message you, okay? You go sort the baby out. Lots of love to you.
All right, thank you.
All right. T, are you ready? See you later, love. You ready for these questions?
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
Did she eat normally at school?
Yeah, she did. Yeah, she didn't have no feeding tubes, no nothing. She didn't have no special diet, nothing.
Okay. Did she have epilepsy at school?
No, she didn't. No.
I'm trying to go through these questions. I feel like it's like a rapid fire right here. And she had no seizures at school, obviously.
No, she didn't. No.
She didn't. Okay. What was the other ones? Anyone else got questions? Have I forgotten any question? Okay, because that's what she does do. She goes, well, I don't know that person.
Yeah. Like, I've even got the Facebook messages where I messaged her going, oh, like, I saw you on TikTok, like, do you remember me from school? And she just go, oh, yeah, I remember you. Like, so I've got all the evidence. So.
Similarly, you've got pictures of you, because, like, you're young. Yeah. And you'd have phones and selfies. And yeah. Okay, so if she came out with that, then T has proof that she does know her. Do you have pictures of her without tubes?
I can find some school photos because I know we had a couple of school photos, but yeah, she hasn't changed one bit looks wise. Like she's still the same, so you'd still recognise her.
T, do you know Emily May at all?
Emily May? No, doesn't ring any bells.
Okay, I don't understand why someone would want to.
What school did she go to? That Emily May?
Oh yeah, be careful because they could say that's doxing.
Yeah, I don't want to name anything.
Yeah, don't. I'm like, oh, today. What was she like in school as a friend? Did she lie a lot?
No, she didn't. She was so shy. Like, she was quite like herself. Sort of kept herself to herself, but she was very shy. She didn't really give a lot away. Like, yeah, she was just like an average normal child. Like nothing. Like I said, I don't know where all this has come from. All I can think of is like trauma from her sister, but that's all I can think of.
Sorry, I'm trying to just literally. Yeah, I have been confirming all the way along that this live is being recorded by the Observer, haven't I? I've just said it all along, and I've said I don't know if she's still in here.
No, she never used to live in America.
Yeah, she did say that. Yes, Jazz, you can message me. Of course you can. Please, the Observer has put in here, please check out the Reddit and Comet Cafe threads on Kiki. You can join both of those groups, and you can put your truths. Your truths. So please do that.
Give SH. No, nothing. No.
Rosie, I meant, do you live alone, my lovely? Sorry, and I've got another fine. I've got another pound fine now for saying that. Amy, the mental health team will be the order to get that pushed through. Anything else? This is like quick fire questions for T. Did she play and do sports and PE? Is this why you say you were behind the bike shed?
Lessons or anything. That's the thing, she was quite a smart child. So yeah. No, she sort of did everything a normal child would do. She did do PE, yeah.
Yeah, she did do PE. Question I've got, I think she's highly intelligent. I think she is highly intelligent.
She knows what she's doing, like she is very bright.
Yeah. Because she's obviously swallowed a medical encyclopedia. And I think it's such a shame of that brain power being wasted, sat on a live, putting medications in a tube all day.
She knows a lot about medicine. Like when I jumped in her live and was talking, like she knows a lot.
I think if she wasn't, sat at home pushing unnecessary medications into her and didn't have FD, I do think that she would probably be a very good doctor. With the amount of medical knowledge she has, she would be amazing if she, actually stopped faking all this stuff and, actually did something with her life. She'd be really good.
Her life, like she's so young, she's got so much ahead of her, but she just chooses to do this, and what a life to live. I'm sorry, but
it's sad, isn't it? Because you're the same age. What are you doing every day that she's missing out on?
Like, it is really sad. Like when I first saw it on live, I was like, what? Like, she's clearly really ill, and I feel sorry for her because she's like 25, 26, and now obviously hearing that it's all fake, it's like, why are you doing that to yourself?
She used to ride horses, she said.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Yeah, so again, she wouldn't have had any problems with mobility or things if she used to ride horses. That's another one. Oh my goodness, these questions. Did she have autism at school?
No, she didn't, no. And she attended school. I remember she'd have a couple of days off, obviously due to her sister. But yeah, she attended school normally.
And as Tia said, she was a shy, sweet girl that was.
I can't remember her having a boyfriend. Like her and guys, she didn't have a very good relationship with guys. She was sort of very like girly girl, just stuck with her girls, like never with guys.
Quite a lot of girls are like that at that age, aren't they? It's not till you sort of leave that. You got the odd few, but so that's normal. She said she has like lupus. Again, T is not aware of any medical conditions as that she had as a child. She was not tube fed. She had no TPN. She had no.
She's probably stopped the fact that she can't have kids at the minute. Like, she's just destroying her body.
I do also think that her medical knowledge could also be, down to her sister, because obviously, even if you're not, actively teaching your kids things, like children are sponges, like we said earlier. And so, obviously, watching her sister go through a lot of, obviously, cancer treatment, she'd pick stuff up. So I feel like, a lot of that, that probably contributed to her medical knowledge, because she was exposed to a lot of things that most kids aren't. So, that probably does play a role into it.
So she's already asked that. Did she live in America? No, she didn't live in America. T was actually a friend. Her and that I'm presuming that
she's never.
Now.
So when she ended up in a wheelchair, not a clue. She never had a wheelchair in school. She walked perfectly fine. She
did PE, rode a horse.
Nothing. She needed a lot of med knowledge. Yeah, she didn't even go to college.
Oh yeah, because she said she went to college to study medicine.
Yeah, no.
And she went to nursing school?
No, she didn't. Not at all. No.
I just think it's so sad that, like, I wouldn't, as for John, I wouldn't want my child living this life. Mm-hmm. I would fight the mental health service to get her the help that she needs. I would, my daughter's got pathological demand avoidance as part of her autism profile, and it is the hardest thing to deal with. And I am just fighting for her to be independent. I'm fighting for her to have an education. I'm fighting for her to have a job. I want her to live her life.
But it's how her dad and that is supporting it. Like, what is wrong with him?
Sorry, got to give the guinea pig medicine.
Yeah.
Too short for this shit. She acts very childlike around Dad. Yeah. Yes. He babies her quite a bit, doesn't he?
Like, I get her dad probably isn't being told the whole truth, obviously, but I do think that what he's doing, supporting her, and I get he's probably scared that he's going to lose his other child, I mean, he probably is, but the supporting her is probably the advice that he's being given, but it's not helping her or anybody else. It's enabling her, because I get if people, strangers on the internet supporting her probably doesn't hold that much weight. It's people she doesn't know. It's people that she can just she'll probably forget about tomorrow. But I do think that when you have your family supporting you and telling you that it's okay and supporting you, it doesn't help, because it's it's like, oh well, the person who loves me the most and the person who is giving me unconditional love is telling me that this behavior is okay. Yeah. And it's not. And obviously, no matter how old you are, most people, I'm saying people who have good parents, good relationship with their parents, most people trust their parents, most people believe a lot of what their parents tell them. I mean, they're your parents. Like, most people don't have a reason for their parents to lie to them. And so he probably thinks he's helping, but he's not. He's making it worse for her, for everybody else online, and is not getting her the help that she needs.
The Observer, providing you with the latest TikTok drama from across the UK.